Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm, and you are watching third part of What If Naruto Accidentally Awakens Rinnegan During Chunin Exams. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Grassland. Woods. Dude, where the hell has that dick guy disappeared at just this moment? As Tayuya dodged the kunai thrown at her, she growled in contemplation. This bastard is in for a world of hurt. She glared at her opponent as she landed on a tree branch. Come now, Tayuya-san. Hold still so I can kill you, okay? Kabuto grinned and said. After all, you are a traitor to Orochimaru Sama for abandoning you duties as a kunoichi of Otokagore no Sato. You idiot. It was an awful place. I remained faithful to him solely because of his dreadful curse seal. He was yelled at by Tayuya. Did it not grant you power? All he asked for in return for your power was your loyalty. Is surrender really any better than ruin? Kabuto posed a straightforward question. There are worse things than dying, the redhead answered. True. But sometimes death is the least of a person's worries, Kabuto said with a sly nod. Whatever you say, bastard, Tayuya snapped back. Let's play, she said, grinning like a predator. With a sigh, this is pointless. Kabuto removed a scroll. Unraveling it, he ran some blood over the kanji that read, Fuin Kai. Say hello to the dead for me, Tayuya-san. Shakan no Jutsu came from the sudden appearance of 24 still human figures on the branches surrounding the two. A moment later, the bodies rose and leapt at the tree that Tayuya was standing on. What in the world is happening here? As the zombies toppled the tree she was using, she wondered, are those people down there? The zombies suddenly started charging towards her as she landed a few feet away. Okay, I need a plan. How about I just pound them all into a bloody pulp? She thought to herself. That ought to work, she said, biting her thumb and creating multiple hand seals. Her 3 doki materialized at her side in puffs of smoke, exclaiming, Kachiyose no Jutsu. Mateki. Genbuso Kyoku. Kabuto laughed as he observed the doki tearing apart the 20.2 zombies that were advancing. After a short while, it came to an end, and the doki focused on the auto nin because the zombies had, well, died. They were dead, for real, and they wouldn't be coming back. He avoided the first doki by leaping to the side as it came at him with a big club and brought it down. With a big double-edged sword, the second doki launched a side attack that made him leap over the first blow. You're pathetic, which is why Orochimaru Sama didn't take you as one of his hosts, Kabuto mocked, hurling 6 kunai with explosive tags at the ground in front of the 3 doki. He exhaled a flammable mist and detonated the explosive notes on the kunai he had thrown a moment earlier, causing a tremendous explosion of fire. Kaden. Kasumi Endu no Jutsu, he said. Shit. When her doki burned, Tayuya swore. Fujutsu Kyuin. She raised her hands and attempted to take in the jutsu as her brother had demonstrated. Can you take in ninjutsu? Outstanding. For a traitor, Kabuto scoffed. In an attempt to stop breathing, Tayuya dropped to her knees and said, cough. Do you ever shut up? You know, even with those eyes of yours you are still nothing but a child trying to play in the big leagues. Kabuto smirked in response. You're not even a challenge compared to Naruto-kun. When he saw the glare she gave him, his smirk got bigger. Just shut the fuck up. She made 3 distinct hand seals and yelled. With an electric explosion in her right hand, she hurried forward and exclaimed, Chidori. Chakura no Mesu, Kabuto uttered, obviously dissatisfied. Tayuya was taken aback when he nearly effortlessly grabbed her lightning-covered hand, as she had assumed it couldn't be stopped. Chidori, really? You must have learned that from Hitaki Kakashi, but it doesn't matter now. Tayuya-san, don't appear so shocked. After all, Hitaki was and still is someone I regard as a threat who is on par with me. I've had a lot of sleepless nights trying to figure out how to counter and deflect his signature move. From the jutsu I'm using right now, I learned that all Raiden jutsu are vulnerable to high frequencies of chakra manipulation that are typically given off during medical operations. The redhead growled at him, leave go, and made an attempt to withdraw. Not a chance. You die now, Kabuto uttered, his smirk taking on a hint of sin. Choju Giga, 3 mid-sized ink lions ambushed the Auto Jonin from the side, startling him and making him retreat. Suddenly, Tayuya was in her root teammate's arms, asking, Are you alright, blower? With a typical smile on her face. After a moment, he set her down and said, "Put me down, and please, don't call me blower." Kyuubi glared at him. It's true that she played the flute, but the word blower could imply other things. She muttered, "Thanks," knowing that without him, she would have died by now. "What brought you back? I assumed you would have left quickly by now," she questioned him. "Since joining this team, I've experienced feelings that I thought I no longer had," Sai said with a simple smile. "If you or the other members of the team pass away, I do not think I will be able to comprehend those emotions." After giving him a brief glance, Kyuubi nodded and said, "Gosh, you really are a piece of work. Are you aware of that?" The phrase, "Let's finish this," did not come from his response. "Are you two done?" Kabuto made fun of it. "And why is that child grinning? You're capable of more, I'm sure," he mocked. Sai continued to smile as she said, "I read in a book that a smile can get you out of a tough situation. Even if it's fake." Sumi Nagashi, Inc. Spewing snakes that unexpectedly emerged from the ground around Kabuto. "What is this?" Kabuto, struggling to free himself, asked in a panic. Black ink spilled from the scroll in Sai's hand and flowed toward the ink snakes holding the Auto Jonin pinned to the ground. "My jutsu," Sai informed him. With a smile on his face, Sai turned to face Kyuubi and said, "No matter how strong he is, he can't move anymore." The redhead said, "You're scary when you want to be," and she turned to face the Auto Jonin and one of her former abusers. "Chidori!" she exclaimed as she leapt forward, her hand now engulfed in electricity once more. In one swift motion, she drove her fist covered in lightning through Kabuto's chest and out the other side, causing his eyes to widen with fear. He attempted, but was unable, to repair the damage caused by the wound, coughing up blood. "No. He stammered, but his voice soon stopped as his corpse collapsed into a mound. With a sigh, Kyuubi gazed down at him and said, "It's over." Sai informed her, "I will dispose of the body," and then sealed it up for Konoha Intelligence's examination. He noticed that the redhead was unable to look at the body of their defeated opponent, so he asked, "Are you okay?" "It's nothing," sighed Kyuubi in response. "Any idea where the others are?" Naruto and Yugito knelt in front of the two as if responding to her question. Naruto appeared to have gone through a difficult moment, while Yugito appeared to be gasping for air. They shouldn't have been shocked by his current condition given that he took on Orochimaru, who had killed the Yondaime Hokage. Even though it's debatable if the Yondaime was past his prime. "What happened?" When Kyuubi noticed Naruto was without his trench coat, she inquired. Naruto answered, "My coat was burned away because Kyuubi's chakra is very acidic." With a sigh, "I'm going to need a new one," he continued. "Where's Yamato?" "Taicho?" Kyuubi inquired. "I can only sense his residual chakra signature. His chakra core is inactive and has already decayed," Yugito shot back, shaking her head. They stood silently for a short while after saying, "He's dead." "Sasuke and Sakura left a little while ago. I can't track them," she said. Naruto gave the order, "Let's go home, there's nothing for us here now. This mission is a failure. I'm sorry this happened, Yamato." "Taicho," Naruto said as the group turned to leave, glancing back at the now demolished bridge. In an instant, he was gone. Fire Country, Hokage Tower and Konoha. Kakashi pondered, "So Orochimaru and Kabuto are dead. I'm sorry about what happened to Tenzo. He was a good man," he said, leaning back in his chair. "Tenzo?" Yugito was compelled to inquire. "That was the true name of Yamato," the Hokage replied. He breathed deeply. "I'll have the workers add his name to the memorial stone tomorrow evening." Clutching his fists, Naruto apologized to his sensei, saying, "I was under my command and I couldn't do anything for him. Orochimaru and Kabuto were killed by you and your group, Naruto. Two of Oto's most significant figures, Naruto, were at war. Though no one wants to acknowledge it, Konoha is under attack, and the only thing separating it from the biggest threat of the present era is your team. Naruto, you have to accept that people die." Kakashi spoke to him. "Those who stray from the path of justice have no courage, but under the wing of a strong leader cowardice cannot survive," Naruto recalled. "Exactly," Kakashi said, bending over. Their attention was drawn by the statement, "There is also another matter we need to discuss. It's about Jiraiya. Sama." "What is it? What took place?" Naruto asked. Suddenly, a figure, actually, several figures, rose into being. The others were a group of toads that had been called to life. but the first they recognized right away as Tsunade. Among them was Fukasaku, the Toad Elder, whom Naruto had encountered during his training expedition and could instantly identify. Naruto said, "Hey old man Fukasaku, sensei," in his unique manner. "Naruto, please watch your language," Kakashi chastised. "No, it's okay," Fukasaku said, dismissing the remark with a sigh. He went on, "Naruto. Boya, this isn't a social call." "What happened?" "It wasn't a question, it was a demand." "There's no easy way to say this. Jiraiya. Boya fell in battle 2 days ago against the Akatsuki leader. He's dead," Fukasaku told him. Sai had lost even his smile. There was silence. "Huh. What did you just say?" Naruto managed to say. Fukasaku restated, "Jiraiya. Boya was killed 2 days ago by Pain, the Akatsuki leader." "How?" Naruto spoke in a severe tone. He traveled to Omegakure no Sato to look for one of his other pupils. "Like you, Nagato is a boy with the Rinnegan. It turns out that Pain is Nagato, and during the infiltration, Pain learned about Jiraiya. Boya. Jiraiya. Boya claims that although Pain appears to have 6 distinct bodies, none of them are Nagato's. The lead body, he said, is that of another student of his named Yahiko. Jiraiya. Boya had never planned to take on Pain head-on, but Pain was much more powerful than he had realized, and no matter how many fights Jiraiya, Boya waged, no one could ever defeat him. By pushing himself past his comfort zone, Jiraiya, Boya came dangerously close to unlocking their secrets. Nobody else could have progressed as far as Jiraiya. Boya. Not only that, but he could have left if he had wanted to, but he gave his life in order to leave us this coded message. Even after his throat was amputated, Fukasaku clarified, removing his cloak to reveal the numbers that were now inscribed on his back. Naruto shocked everyone in the room by saying, "The real one is not there," after deciphering the code. "You know what this means?" With a backward gesture, Fukasaku asked in surprise. "They're words from Arrow. Sennin's newest novel. Any idea what it means?" Naruto went on. Fukasaku put his cloak back on and shook his head, saying, "It's too vague." "Did you let him go?" Naruto turned to face the Hokage and asked. "Yes," Kakashi replied with brevity. "Why?" inquired Naruto. "He desired to leave. Since Nagato-san was his pupil," Kakashi answered, "I would have acted in the same way if it had been you instead. I'm sorry Naruto. I tried sending people with him but he wouldn't allow it." A moment later, Naruto growled and stormed out of the room. "I apologize, Fukasaku. Sama. I'll make arrangements for Naruto too," Kakashi sighed wearily. No, that's okay. But let's go back to the child of prophecy I mentioned before. Time will tell which of Nagato-san and Naruto. Boya is the real one," Fukasaku sighed. "Please pardon me," Tsunade said sternly. With a nod, Kakashi departed shortly after, with Yugito trailing closely behind. "Tsunade. Shisho?" Tsunade timidly inquired. Tsunade uttered, Just give me some time, Yugito-chan," and he left with his fists clenched. Yugito observed her leave for a brief while before making his way off, probably in pursuit of Naruto. A moment later, Tayuya and Sai came out, though Tayuya was trembling visibly. But it remained to be seen if it was anger or sadness. With clenched fists, the redhead exclaimed, "I can't believe this. This asshole, Pain is not going to get away with this," Tayuya yelled. Despite her distaste for Jiraiya due to his sexual orientation, she was more concerned with the fact that he had trained Naruto. Sai remarked, "It seems like Akatsuki has grown even more dangerous. This has continued for long enough to be of no consequence." The redhead snarled, "They'll pay for what they've done." "I have to submit to Danzo-sama," Sai informed her. "Well, I never expressed my gratitude for your assistance with the previous mission," Tayuya began, planting a kiss on his cheek. "Don't read too much into it, Dickman. That was just for saving my life," Sai said, her eyes widening momentarily. Noted, Sai slowly nodded in response to her leaving. After a moment, he vanished. Fire Country, Root Headquarters, Konoha. This place felt like a pit in hell without the lava. It was always damp and dark. The minimal lighting conveyed a sense of impending death on its own. The head of Root, a man named Shimura Danzo, was standing in the middle of the platform. He was the type of man who never questioned the necessity of using any means necessary to achieve his objectives and protect Konoha. It was the reason the Godem and Sandaime Hokages kept him around. In fact, the Yondaime had done the same 15 years prior to his death in the Battle of the Nine Tails. Danzo commanded, "Sai. Wipe that stupid smile off your face," and Sai materialized in front of him, bowing. "Report," he gave the order. "Orochimaru is dead, Danzo. Sama as is Kabuto. I apologize, but Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura both managed to escape," Sai told him. "I see, interesting. I assume that the mission didn't go as planned then." Though it was a straightforward question, Sai knew better than to respond. Very well, the mission was indeed a failure as Uchiha Sasuke still lives. However, with both Orochimaru and Kabuto dead, I no longer have to worry about those two fools. Then he turned and walked a short distance before pausing once more and saying, "I will overlook this setback this once. But please don't let me down again, Sai." With his head lowered, Sai asked, "Your orders, Danzo." "Sama? I have a mission for you. Take Fu and Torun and collect as much information on Orochimaru's experiments as you can," was Danzo's directive. "Yes, Danzo." "Sama," Sai uttered. "Dismissed," Danzo uttered before turning aside. "Danzo." "Sama." Danzo halted and slowly pivoted to face him. "I request a formal placement on Team Naruto under Namikaze Naruto as an official member." Danzo surprised him by saying, "Agreed," though he didn't express it. The Root Anbu bowed again and said, "You may leave, Sai," before quickly walking away. Danzo wasn't an idiot by any means. He was aware that, aside from himself, Naruto represented Konoha's best chance of survival, even though their ideologies differed. Konoha needed all the capable body shinobi they could get these days, with Akatsuki and their cursed leader Uchiha Madara posing a growing threat. That was, after all, the rationale behind his vote to support Kumo and allow Yugito to join the team. Konoha, the fire country. The crickets in the bushes were the only noise audible in the village as night fell. In the middle of the quiet street, Naruto was sitting on a bench and holding an ice cream bar. His face was wet with tears, but he ignored them as he fixed his gaze on the ice cream he was holding. He looked up and said, "There you are, Naruto," as he saw Yugito get closer. She sat down next to him, and he wiped his eyes and said, "You're a hard man to find. I wanted him to keep watching over me. Wanted him to see me become Hokage. He was my godfather, but I always thought of him as my own grandfather," Naruto gasped. He sobbed once more as she pulled him into an embrace and said, "It's okay, it's okay." He asked her, "Why did this have to happen?" I don't know, Yugito honestly replied, sensing his trembling. "I'll kill him. I won't stop until he pays for what he's done," Naruto said. "Naruto," she thought to herself as he cried more in her arms. It was going to be an extended evening. Rain Country, headquarters of AIM and Akatsuki. "Did you recover his ring?" Pain asked. "What ring?" Black Zetsu scoffed at the question. After his battle with the Kyuubi Jinchuuriki, nothing remained for it to recover. Pain said, "This is troubling news. You two are to hunt the Kyuubi and the Nibi, Itachi and Kitsune. Now that Jiraiya is dead, they will be exposed and won't be prepared for an attack so quickly. Once we seal the Nanabi, Kakuzu and Hidan will hunt the Gobi and the Yonbi. Konan and I will handle the Hachibi directly," Pain concluded. White Zetsu asked bluntly, "What about the Sanbi?" "Tobi will deal with the Sanbi. It doesn't have a Jinchuuriki, so it will be weaker than the others," Pain argued. "Oh my god, Tobi is being sent? Are you crazy?" Black Zetsu questioned in shock. White Zetsu said plainly, "Oh, don't be like that, after all Tobi is a good boy." When everyone turned to face the mask wearing Akatsuki member, they saw that he was standing motionless like a statue on one of the other fingers or platforms. "He slept through it. I believe he's dozing off," Kitsune chuckled. White Zetsu said, "You know, I think he's utterly mad." "What was your first hint?" "Geez. The man is obviously insane," shot back Black Zetsu. Pain gave the order, "You have your assignments." Dismissed, and one by one, the holograms of the other Akatsuki members vanished, leaving only Tobi. "I assumed that I would be the one going after the Nibi and Kyuubi. You want them to go, but why?" "Because I want you to hunt the Hachibi," Tobi said simply, losing his usual carefree demeanor. "Why don't you go yourself?" Pain inquired. Tobi replied, because I have a prior engagement, and turned to walk away. The time is not yet right to show them the Uchiha's power, my power. The power of Uchiha Madara. Fire Country. Namikaze household. Konoha Namikaze Naruto had moved into his parents' family home after opening all of his travel related belongings. There were numerous security seals all over the place, some of which even took Jiraiya hours to break through. After the seals were eventually removed, Naruto discovered a picture of his parents, which was now resting next to the king-sized bed. Additionally, he had discovered his parents' armory, if you may use that term. Beneath the house was a network of tunnels stocked with hundreds of different weapons and seals, and reinforced with multiple sheets of metal. He wasn't even sure what half of the seals did, and there were thousands of Hiraishin kunai in storage, just waiting to be used. Naruto groaned as he attempted to move out of the way of the morning sun beaming into the master bedroom. He suddenly felt a weight on his chest and his eyes fluttered open. He groaned again as he looked down and saw Yugito's head resting on his chest. He knew that nothing happened the night before because they were both fully clothed, but he couldn't recall how he got home, so he just assumed that Yugito had carried him in. Good morning, Yugito stood up to greet him. Morning, he grinned in return. She said, are you okay? To him. No, he replied curtly. I detest being idle. I have to face him. I have to speak with pain. Naruto. She trailed off, at a loss for words. Knock, Yugito informed him, it's Shikamaru, after sensing the Nara at the front door. With a nod, Naruto got up from the bed, and Yugito let out a loud moan when she felt him go from her side. In a matter of seconds, Naruto left the room and went down the stairs to reach the door. When he opened it, he discovered a somewhat unkempt Shikamaru waiting for him. What is it, Shikamaru? Naruto inquired. The Nara said, can I come in? With a nod, Naruto moved aside to let him in. They entered the kitchen and he shut the door behind them. Naruto went over to the refrigerator while Shikamaru took a seat at the kitchen table. Can I get you anything? Casting a glance over his shoulder, Naruto asked. The Nara graciously said, no thank you, as Naruto picked up a drink. Why are you here, Shikamaru? As soon as he took a seat, Naruto asked directly. I want to know everything I can about pain. The best place to start are the only other Rinnegan users we know of. That means you, Shikamaru said with conviction. Since the Senju learned that little trick from the Rakudo Sennin, the Rinnegan's user can control not only the 5 main elements but also the wood element. In addition, we have the Yamanaka's ability to probe minds when we grab someone by the head, rendering ninjutsu all but useless in this scenario. We can also absorb chakra directly through our hands. Other than that, I'm not sure, was Naruto's sincere response. What about being able to be 6 people at once? Shikamaru inquired. Alright, so. When my Rinnegan is active, I can see what my clones are doing, but Arrow Sennin once informed me that the human mind cannot process information from multiple sets of eyes at once. The blonde answered, I'm not sure how pain is 6 people. Shikamaru nodded and said, I get it. Naruto said, I'm sorry I can't be more helpful. Don't worry, I believe that's sufficient, Shikamaru said as he stood up again. Before I forget, Hokage Sama wants to see you in his office right away, he said. As he led him to the door, Naruto nodded and said, alright, I'll see you around, Shikamaru. Shikamaru said, the day will come when we surpass those who came before us, as he turned slightly before shutting the door. Naruto, from what I've seen, you will soon surpass Jiraiya Sama, who was a great man. He left, closing the door behind him. After a good few minutes of staring, Naruto turned to see Yugito making his way slowly down the stairs. She said to him, what are you going to do? After considering it for a short while longer, Naruto responded, I need to meet with Hokage Sensei. Fire Country. Hokage Tower and Konoha Arrow Sennin's code said that the real one is not there. What if he meant the real pain wasn't among the 6 bodies? Naruto questioned the people present. We saw Naruto Boya with only 6 people carrying the Rinnegan, Fukasaku replied. And the first shinobi was called the Rakudo Sennin. I think those bodies that Arrow Sennin and you fought were pains, paths, Naruto went on. Fukasaku pondered, they did refer to themselves as the pain Rakudo. That still doesn't explain how he has 6 different people though. It works the same way for me and my shadow clones, but he keeps them active all the time rather than dispelling them like mine do. Naruto clarified, I don't know how he makes them, but I doubt it's that much different from me. Shadow clones. If what you say is true, then he might be able to reanimate and control a corpse. Jiraiya. Boya recognized a few of the bodies as people he had previously fought. That would account for his ability to resurrect 3 of his bodies following Jiraiya. Boya's killing of them, Fukasaku thought. How did you come to this theory? He asked, turning to face his questioner. They also get it when I use my Rinnegan active to create a shadow clone. It lets me take command of the clone directly while still having control over my own body. Arrow. Sennin warned me that the human mind cannot process so much information at once, which is why I've never gotten used to looking in more than one direction at once and why I don't practice Kage Bunshin no Jutsu as frequently as I used to, Naruto said. Pain might be using something similar with his 6 paths. They only demonstrated 1 jutsu each though. Fukasaku was perplexed. Shizune.san is already going over the body that Jiraiya Sama recovered, Kakashi said in a straightforward tone. Anko should be proud of Tayuya for his smile. Maybe once we find out how they work we will be able to fight this bastard, she said. Don't get ahead of yourself. At this point, none of you even comes close to matching Pain. Fukasaku snorted at the very notion. Tsunade.san is the only one who might have a chance, and even then that chance is small. Jiraiya, the strongest shinobi Konoha had since his student the Yondaime Hokage perished in battle against the Kyuubi, was thought to be a failure until Pain was able to defeat him. Even though Kakashi was a formidable Hokage, he was aware that he was nowhere close to Jiraiya's level, and even though Tsunade might be able to hold Pain off for a while, she would ultimately lose. Now, what should we do? Simply await the Outlander's assault on us? With anger, Naruto inquired. Fukasaku smirked and answered, that's simple, you all train, the statement, and you, Naruto, will be coming with me, startled everyone in the space. With you? Naruto inquired of the Elder Toad. A sly smile found its way onto Fukasaku's features. I'll train you in Senjutsu on Mount Myobokuzen the same way I hammered it into Jiraiya. Boya. Will it let me win against Pain? After some time, Naruto questioned him. Fukasaku told the blonde Namikaze, that I can't guarantee but right now you don't have a chance at all. Count me in, Naruto answered back. Fukasaku nodded and said, then we leave in an hour, you'd better go pack. Fire Country. Main gates, Konoha. We'll be alright, so don't worry about us. Yugito remarked, we have our own training to do you know, as Naruto gathered her into a close embrace. I'll be back soon, Yugito, he said, restraining himself. As soon as we have any results from the autopsy or the interrogation we'll send word, Kakashi stated to them. Fukasaku nodded and said, I'll leave a messenger Toad so if anything happens just send him to get us. Tayuya spoke a little too happily, don't worry little brother, we'll keep this shithole together until you get back. That's right, deadpanned Naruto, shaking his head. After saying, we really must be going. Until we meet again, Fukasaku and Naruto vanished in separate puffs of smoke. They vanished? Tayuya spoke alarmedly. Yugito reassured her, it's a Gyaku Kachiyose no Jutsu, don't worry about it. You two will meet me at Training Ground 7 in 20 minutes because I'm going to be training you both personally, Kakashi stated to them. What about Dickman here? Pointing her thumb at the grinning Root Anbu next to them, Tayuya inquired. Sai said simply, I am afraid I will be on a mission for Danzo Sama during this time. With his book in hand, Kakashi started down the street, paying him no mind. Nobody could have anticipated the events of the ensuing week. Lightning Nation. Marketplace, Kumo. Kachiyose no Jutsu. 6 enormous animals of different species decimated everything and everyone they could find, causing chaos to reign. As these walking juggernauts left a trail of destroyed shops, buildings, and spires in their wake, Kumo residents were fleeing the carnage. 3 figures with orange hair stood in the middle of the chaos, all dressed in black cloaks decorated with red clouds. They continued walking in the direction of the Raikage Tower, seemingly oblivious to the damage the summons were wreaking. Suddenly, 2 Kumo nins tried to attack the man in the middle of the 3, only to have the ground break around them. Diva muttered, Shinra Tensai, and the nins briefly coughed up blood before collapsing to the ground, clearly dead. Ranton. Reiza Sakasu. As Darui landed in the street with Shi by his side, a dozen beams of light shot out from the side. Fujutsu Kyuin, Prada uttered as the beams vanished from his presence. Who the hell are these guys? Omoi swung his sword and entered from the side, asking a question. Just as Karui was about to strike him from behind, Diva calmly dodged the blow by removing a chakra blade from his cloak. Animal calmly stated, "Kachiyose no jutsu," as she slapped the ground and called forth a massive bird-like creature to attack. The bird knocked Karui off his feet while Diva spun around and kicked Omoi in the chest, knocking him back as well. Unfortunately, he was already set up when Samui suddenly launched an attack from above and swung her own sword down on the Diva path. Shinra Tensai, she was violently flung back through one of the surrounding buildings, and the complex quickly collapsed. Samui. As the building collapsed, Omoi called, "You bastard!" The three peens yelled as they carried on toward the Raikage Tower, as if they didn't give a damn about anyone who got in their way. Omoi charged, holding his weapon. "Omoi don't!" He was shouted at by Karui, but it was too late. Diva uttered, "Shinra Tensai," in a whisper without even turning around. The ground cracked beneath Omoi, sending a wave of pain through his body. He fell to his knees and coughed blood into his hands. "Omoi!" Karui saw him fall and let out a shout. The trio of peens never turned around again. The human path moved through the village unnoticed while the others created the distraction. Here was where he discovered his objective. Human grabbed Jay's head with his right hand as he quickly turned around and his eyes widened. Human said simply, "You will tell me where the Hachibi is located," as Jay's eyes went glassy. It didn't take long for his mind to provide the needed information. Storm Cloud Canyon. Animal yelled softly, "Kachiyose no jutsu," and the Asura path materialized on the battlefield in a cloud of smoke. Asura's head parted to reveal that it was not human in the slightest. The skull, if you can call it that, briefly glowed green before buildings were destroyed by the powerful, multi-directional green flames Asura let loose. The entire village was struck by the blast's force, and then the battlefield was silent for a brief period of time. They continued to move. Garochin Dorapu. Before the paths could recognize it, a figure began to fade into the distance. The considerably bigger Yondaime Hokage attacked Diva right away, destroying it with the words, "You will not get away with attacking my village, you little ants." Asura did nothing but observe while launching a barrage of projectiles from his wrists. With his incredible speed, the Hokage avoided them all and approached closely, only to be startled by Asura's tail as it attempted to slash at him. "You obviously don't comprehend suffering," Preda said with a harsh tone. "You trifle with powers that you do not understand, and that will be your undoing. Don't you dare think you can lecture me," the Hokage snarled in his direction. "You have the Rinnegan?" he asked, realizing that the Akatsuki leader was using a dojutsu. Preda, Diva, and Asura vanished in puffs of smoke a moment later. "I want you to feel pain, contemplate pain, accept pain, to know pain. Those who do not know true pain will never understand true peace," Preda said. When the Hokage arrived, Animal had already departed. "Coward! What are you planning?" When she got there, the Hokage snarled and pivoted. She said, "He's gone, sir. It looks like they're retreating to the downtown area," perceiving the chakra signature's direction. With a voice full of rage, the Hokage declared, "I want that thing dead," and he fled after pain. Animal slammed her hand down on the ground and whispered, "Kachiyose no jutsu," which caused the other 5 paths to appear at her side. Naraka immediately set to work restoring and rebuilding the fallen pathways. At that moment, Konan materialized beside him, her cloak billowing in the breeze. "What's going on?" inquired the girl with blue hair. With a simple, "I'm using that jutsu," Animal answered. "Try as Konan might to reason with them, but that jutsu will shorten your life if you use it." Just then, fully restored, Diva emerged from the King of Hell and asked, "Do you really mean to do this, Nagato?" His response was, "Now this world shall know pain." Diva leapt high above the village to avoid being caught by surprise when the Hokage arrived. What plans does he have? Observing the Akatsuki leader float in midair, the Hokage pondered. "I sense a significant accumulation of energy emanating from him," she told him while the other peens succumbed to their injuries. "No," the Hokage exclaimed as his eyes grew wide. "Shinra Tensai." Pain released a tremendous blast of gravity that pushed mountains and buildings away in all directions. Both ninja and civilians screamed as the unstoppable force sent against them completely destroyed and tore apart their village. Kumogakure no Sato vanished after the explosion subsided, and silence was the rule. It had ended. Was that really necessary? Conan questioned as Diva approached her. Yes, he replied curtly and carried on moving. With a sigh, Conan posed the query, where to now? Storm Cloud Ravine. The home of the Hachibi Jinchuuriki, Pain replied. Thundercloud Country. Thundercloud Canyon approaching the small house, Pain said, so you are the Hachibi Jinchuuriki. The one dark skinned figure turned to face the other two, 7, and remarked, hey, so you are Jinchuuriki. Sama or Hachibi? Sama fools, ya fools. Pain said, I'm here to capture you and bring peace to the world, as his paths came together. Naraka was at the very back, Diva was behind them, and Preta, human, animal, and Asura were in front. Kurabi thought to herself, let's see now. Those eyes you have must be the Rinnegan I've heard so much about, as she saw the dojutsu. I'm in the midst of my rhyme. You all are busting in on my time. And now I got to split my line, fools ya fools. With a scorpion-like body exposed, Asura threw off his Akatsuki cloak and lunged forward in the direction of the Hachibi Jinchuuriki. As he got closer, Kurabi raised his 7 swords into the air. He surprised the Akatsuki agents by grabbing each of them with different parts of his body. He then went on the offensive and quickly defeated the Asura path. As Kurabi reverted to his laughable stance, Pain thought, his kenjutsu is almost unreadable. Kurabi, sword still in his mouth, rapped, the only one who gets to dig me is me. Yoso, stand back or you'll get whacked. Ya fool. Yes, that's me, the rapping killer bee, called Hachibi. You all started this fight, but I'll leave you all defeated. Looking at the man closely, Conan thought, this Jinchuuriki isn't like the others. He acts like a complete fool, but he's paying attention to us. Pain has only received this much trouble from Hanzo and Jiraiya. Sensei. Suin Kachiyose no Jutsu. The animal struck the ground with both hands, and 2 massive beings emerged as puffs of smoke. There was a bull and a rhinoceros. With dust blowing up in their wake, they charged directly towards the Hachibi Jinchuuriki, and Kurabi's eyes narrowed slightly at the monstrosities. He started, yo, first I'm going to float like a butterfly, leaping over the approaching summons to go straight after Animal. Then I sting like a killer bee. Animal exclaimed as she was stabbed and slashed by the onslaught of attacks directed towards her. With a loud thud, Animal struck the ground, but Kurabi was on top of her again, saying, and I end my flow. With the finishing blow, he took down and destroyed the animal path. Pain pondered as he examined the Hachibi Jinchuuriki. He's strong in close combat in a similar way as the Raikage. Long-range attacks are my only choice here. Kurabi thought, this fool's Rinnegan is a real problem, and raised his left hand in the air, gesturing. I see it can't be helped. Here comes the aid. Red energy burst from his body and surrounded him, taking the form of a triangular ox. Conan studied the chakra that clung to Kurabi's body and thought, so that's the Hachibi's power. His chakra levels are immense. Before human could blink, Kurabi appeared in front of them, shooting forward at breakneck speed. Lariat. The human path was closely lined by the Hachibi Jinchuuriki as he raised his fist. Kurabi threw human to the ground, bursting blood from his back, then turned to his next victim. Once more, he lunged in the direction of Diva and Conan. Conan thought to herself, this guy's strength is insane, as the third path was destroyed, but it doesn't matter. Like everyone else, he will fall before Pain. Pain has never lost a fight, after all. Lariat, as he prepared to blow out Diva's insides the same way he did human, Kurabi called. Kurabi's eyes widened in shock as he was flung back effortlessly and crashed hard into the mountain behind his house. Shinra Tensai, Diva whispered. What the devil struck me? I guess that was the gravity jutsu that Yugito-chan had told me about. These brats are really annoying, Kurabi complained as he stood up again. He thought, what the hell? As he saw that the 3 paths he had killed had abruptly stood upright once more. I thought I killed those guys, so how in the world did he bring them back to life? Pain said, surrender yourself now, your death will lead to peace, and her voice resounded all around. Stop talking, little dog. My actual state as the Biju's residence. As the red chakra expanded and compressed around Kurabi, bubbles formed on his body. As that of a monster, see I told y'all. His chakra is impossible, Conan gulped as the chakra widened even further. Shortly after, a massive ox with 8 tails, resembling tentacles, towered over them. The ox bellowed, "Now look upon me as I make ya pee all in ya pants, ya little ants." Pain looked up at the monster before him, still impassive. "That is, them," he said, "and now I will show you, an Oni Jutsu," as chakra congealed into a ball at the beast's mouth. Nagato, Conan retreated a step. Pain comforted Conan, saying, "Don't worry. I will handle this, just stay back for now." Hachibiju Amari. With a roar, Kurabi shot out a powerful blast of pure chakra from the ball, destroying the whole ravine. Shinra Tensai. While he protected Conan and the other paths from the blast, Diva countered. Pain and Conan stood where they had been standing, atop the water, when the blast subsided. "That was too close," Conan said, sounding off. With a whisper, Shibaku Tensai, Diva formed a tiny ball of gravity in his hands. Conan told Nagato, "You don't have to go that far. Would you rather I hold back?" "I will be fine, Conan," he continued when he didn't hear back. The earth itself began to rise into the sky when he threw the gravity ball into the air above them. Eventually, there was so much mass up there that the enormous Hachibi was also drawn up, making it appear like a miniature moon. Before he could stand up again, Kurabi roared as he crashed into the man-made structure. He attempted to break free, but more earth slabs struck the construct and him indirectly. "Enough, Nagato," Conan told her partner. "Not yet," Diva exclaimed, struggling to contain his jutsu. When Kurabi was buried inside the miniature moon and it abruptly crushed itself, he let out another roar. A moment later, it broke apart and collapsed into a mound of rubble. A severely battered Kurabi, who was no longer in his Biju form, stood in the middle of this mess. Pain declared emphatically, "I have captured the Hachibi," as he walked up to their downed foe. Conan wrapped Kurabi's body in her papers for transportation and remarked, "Let's get out of here before anyone shows up." Fire Country. Hokage Tower and Konoha laughing, Kakashi turned pages of his new Icha Icha Paradise novel that Naruto had given him 2 months prior, which he had started reading after finishing his paperwork for the day hours ago. Usually, he would have completed the book by the end of the first week, but the Elder Council's demands and the volume of paperwork consumed most of his free time. Oh, how he missed being able to relax on those days. Knock, knock. With a loud sigh, Kakashi turned to face the door and said, "Come in." His reflexes began to fire as soon as the door exploded in his direction. He was able to quickly recover by ducking under his desk, having served as an Enbu captain for years, as the door flew over his head and through the window. He turned his table over so that it was on its side and shielded him from the assailants at the door when he heard the distinct sound of burning paper. The Hokage's office is riddled with explosions, and flames are visible to everyone. As he emerged from the shadows, Kakashi gave a slight cough and thanked the Rakudo for always wearing a mask to protect his lungs from the smoke. Even though his assailants had left, he could still hear screaming and explosions coming down the hallway. As the floor collapsed beneath Kakashi, he realized, so it's finally happened. "I have to get to the roof now." He staggered up the stairs, noticing the various bodies that lay on the floor as he went, saying, "I will make you pay for this, Akatsuki." He fell and crashed into a pile of debris on the floor below, thinking, "Crap, at this rate the entire building will collapse." Upon arriving at the roof, he was welcomed by 2 individuals he was well acquainted with. Kakashi stated, "Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kitsune," raising his hite and revealing his Sharingan. Kakashi. "It's been a long time," Itachi said with a respectful nod. "Where are the Kyuubi and I the Jinchuuriki?" Kakashi remarked simply, "That doesn't matter," as the flames surrounding the tower intensified. He warned the 2, saying, "You'll pay for what you've done here." The Hokage narrowed his eyes at the Akatsuki agents, thinking, "Tsunade Sama is no doubt at the hospital tending to the injured and the remnants of Team Naruto are scattered. I'll just have to do this myself then." At that moment, a figure appears next to him and says, "Good timing, guy." The green clad Jonin exclaimed loudly, "My flames of youth are burning brightly today." Kisame laughed a little. "I see you are still a moron, you dumb beast." Who are you?" Guy inquired after seeing the man who resembled a shark. "I'll make sure to make you remember by the time this is over," smiled Kisame as he and Guy walked into the village. "Raiden. Rai. Inu," declared Kakashi, grabbing Itachi's wrist and sending a lightning god flying in his direction. Itachi sidestepped the blow with ease and held out his hand. he whispered, Utakata, and Kakashi instantly stopped moving. He cut Kakashi's neck with his Anbu sword and said, I apologize, but this is for the greater good. Itachi's eyes grew wide as Kakashi struck every nerve in his body with lightning. Fast lightning, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was a Rai Bunshin no Jutsu. The real Kakashi cried out, Reikari, as he drove his hand through Itachi's back, right through the place where his heart should have been. Amazing Kakashi, it makes sense that you were appointed the Yondaime Hokage, Itachi remarked, oblivious to the fist sticking out of his chest. He whispered, Bunshin Daibakuha, and Kakashi leapt away, his eyes widening. The already unstable Hokage tower was completely destroyed when Itachi burst into flames. When it was done, Kakashi winced and stood up in the wreckage of the former Hokage tower, shifting slightly as pain shot through his left arm. He quickly realized that it was dislocated, and it took him only a few seconds to pop it back into position. So you survived that, Kakashi? That is impressive, but you and I both know that you cannot win here. Hand over the Kyuubi and the Nibi and we will leave peacefully, Itachi said quietly. You are aware that I will never consent to that, Itachi, said Kakashi. So be it, Itachi said, drawing his Anbu sword to the side. Kakashi made a hand seal, and his Sharingan changed into its most powerful form. Mangekyo Sharingan, he whispered. Itachi's eyes briefly sparkled with surprise, and then he narrowed them. Kamui, murmured Kakashi. What? Itachi shifted out of the way as time and space appeared to condense where he had stood, thinking in alarm. That jutsu was, his sword said, crushed in a whirlwind of matter and air. As his breathing became more labored, Kakashi thought, damn it, I missed. A massive fireball shot out of Itachi's mouth and hurtled toward Kakashi's position in Kaiden. Gukakyu no Jutsu, scorching everything in its path. With a great leap over the approaching fireball, Kakashi extended his fist. Raiden. Rai, Inu, he said, and a lightning dog leapt out of his hand to attack Itachi. It hit exactly in the center, but Itachi poofed out of existence seconds later, saying, damn it, he was a clone. At that moment, two Itachis appeared from above and landed on solid ground, telling him, it feels like I'm fighting dust and echoes. Bunshin Daibakuha, the words caused Kakashi's eyes to widen. The Hokage muttered, Kamui, and the two explosions the clones had produced were immediately transported to a different dimension. Most impressive, Kakashi. Despite not being of Uchiha blood, you are still able to use the Mangekyo Sharingan. That is truly a remarkable accomplishment, Itachi said. He asked, tell me, who did you kill to get that eye? No one. A friend of mine from back during the Third Great Shinobi War sacrificed his life to save mine, and he gave me this Sharingan as a present since he didn't have anything else to give and he had no further use for it. The Mangekyo Sharingan is unlocked when someone has a full matured Sharingan and experiences incredible guilt for something he or she has done. Or in my case failed to do, Kakashi said quietly. That explains how you were able to use Kamui and I cannot. Only one other man in history has ever unlocked that specific ability. Uchiha Madara. Kakashi's eyes widened when he heard the name. Kakashi questioned him, Itachi. Just how much of your eyesight have you lost? But after a brief pause, he realized he wouldn't receive a response. Itachi issued an ultimatum, saying, you cannot win. Surrender the Jinchuuriki or I will do what I must. No, Kakashi replied curtly. So be it, Mangekyo Sharingan, Itachi said, transforming his gaze into a unique dojutsu. Amaterasu, he yelled, sending black flames shooting fast in the direction of the Hokage. I can't remove Itachi with the little chakra I have left, and if I use that jutsu once more, I will definitely exhaust myself and end up dead. As he watched the black flames approach and the world around him appeared to slow to a crawl, Kakashi thought, the best way I can save Konoha right now is to buy time for Naruto to return. He slowly closed his eyes, Kamui, the black flames being drawn into his jutsu and dissipated. As Kakashi collapsed lifelessly to the ground, Itachi bowed his head respectfully and said, you are a worthy opponent, Kakashi. Well, it appears that this is it for me as well. I am Obito. Before his eyes closed forever, Kakashi's final thoughts were, Rin. Sensei. Kaiden. Gukakyu no Jutsu. Itachi dodged the fireball that was descending on his position just in time to see someone land next to Kakashi's lifeless body. Namikaze Tayuya, the sister of the Kyuubi Jinchuuriki, daughter of the Yondaime Hokage and fellow user to the Rinnegan. Also known as the true heir to the Whirlpool country, Itachi said when he saw her. The redhead growled at him, "Actually I prefer Uzumaki to Yuya, you prick," while she felt for Kakashi's pulse. Her first reaction upon discovering none was to give the mass murderer from Uchiha a fierce glare and say, "You fucking bastard." Itachi motioned for the attacker to approach him while saying in a monotone, "You want to fight? Fine." He asked, "Where are the Kyuubi and I the Jinchuuriki?" "Like I'd tell you, bastard," the redhead shot forward, growling at him. Unknown. Limbo Kakashi made his way through the shadows to the small campfire and group of medium-sized rocks that he could make out in the distance. He knew who it was as soon as he saw the figure sitting atop one of the rocks and looking into the fire. The figure asked, "Kakashi?" as he turned to observe the copy. Nin's approach. "So this is where you were," Kakashi remarked, approaching the man and settling down on one of the other rocks. The figure said, "Will you tell me your tale?" "Yes, but I want to take my time because it's a long story," Kakashi sighed. "Yeah. That's fine," the man replied with a smile. "You see, father, fire country, downtown, Konoha, Sweden. Bakusu Shoha." Kitsune let out a huge stream of water that seemed to swallow up most of the village, pushing Guy up onto the rooftops. Grinning, the swordsman yelled, "Hold still, you dumb beast," and glided across the water. With a swiftness that most Jonin could not match, Guy raced across the water to intercept the Akatsuki agent above it. He managed to kick Samahata free from Kisami's hold and seize the fallen weapon by using his legs as leverage. With his hands gripping Samahata's handle, Guy leapt to his feet and swung down onto Kisami's position. However, the handle splintered just before he made contact, causing Guy to drop it as the blade stabbed and scratched his hands, making him wince. The green-clad Jonin produced two nunchaku, swung them around, and took a position. Kitsune gripped the weapon's handle once more and proudly said, "Samahata only allows me to use it." "Die!" he yelled as he leapt forward and fell on Guy's position. "What strength!" Guy held the sword away from his head with his nunchaku, thinking. Kitsune yelled, "Not good enough," and used his free arm to strike Guy. "He's too powerful." As he plummeted through the water and toward the street below, Guy cried out in reflection. As he rapidly made multiple hand seals, Kitsune exclaimed, "I haven't even gotten started yet." With a fistful of water, he yelled, "Sweden! Gashokuzame!" Suddenly, 5 sharks formed out of dense water beneath the surface and swam in Guy's direction. Guy thought, "I have no choice," and he swiftly crossed his arms in front of him. The 5 water sharks vanished in an instant as chakra erupted from him in waves and cried out, "Kaimon! Kumon! Simon! Shoman! Toman! Kimon! Kai!" Kitsune cried out in shock, "What?" as Guy materialized in front of him. The entire village can hear Guy's battle cry as he repeatedly beats the Akatsuki swordsman with a blaze of strength and rage. He kept hammering Kitsune with all of his might, each blow unleashing a burst of fire due to the friction of the speed involved. With a roundhouse kick to the Akatsuki agent's face, Guy finished his combo, sending him flying through one of the buildings below and causing it to collapse from the force of the blow. As Guy landed on the water once more, he thought, "That should do it." Sweden. Dai Bakusu Shoha. Water burst from Kisami's crash site, causing Guy to leap away once more. "What?" Guy thought alarmingly. Suiro Samiodori no Jutsu. Suddenly, a huge dome of water engulfed him and everything in a mile's radius. "What is this?" Guy asked, lost in thought, and it was then that he noticed his opponent. Kitsune no longer had a semblance of a man. In fact, he looked more like a shark, and there was no sign of his sword. When Guy suddenly materialized in front of him, he punched the shark man in the jaw, but the chakra he released seemed to vanish before it hit. "No, he's merged with his sword and is directly absorbing my chakra. He's absorbing my chakra even without his sword." As he swam away, Guy realized, "I can't even scratch him anymore." He tried to swim to the edge of the dome, thinking, "I must escape if I am to survive." He thought, "He's moving the dome with me," when he noticed after a short while that the distance between him and the end of the dome had not changed. As he caught up to the green-clad Jonin, he could still hear Kitsune saying, "You can't escape," even though he was underwater. Guy realized, "I can't win. I'm almost out of breath," and he stopped abruptly before quickly turning to face his opponent once more. He sealed his hand with his palm and sent more chakra exploding out of his form, saying, "Lee, I leave everything to you. May my flames of youth protect you and the village for years to come." Kiyomon, Shimon. Kai. He cried out as the last gate of his body opened, causing him to vanish quickly. Again and again, he pummeled his fist into Kisami's face. While Guy persisted in his attack, firebolts were shooting everywhere, only to be extinguished by the dome of water they were fighting in. He briefly believed that his chakra might blow the water away, but it did not. This could be because the water was already heavily saturated with chakra, but it is irrelevant at this point. As Kisame struck the waning Guy, his voice roared, "I'll just give you a clean cut." It had ended. The swordsman laughed. He was a fast dumb beast, as he threw his opponent's now dead body out of the water dome. He turned to face the village as a sudden shockwave swept over him. "What is that?" As he watched the purple chakra spiral out from the source of the shockwaves, he asked himself in reflection. When he noticed the purple chakra condense and take the form of a massive fire cat with two tails, he smiled and said, "Oh goody. So you must be the I the Jinchuuriki, huh? Well then, why don't I cut off your legs and see exactly how many lives you have?" Yugito yelled, "You're going to pay for attacking this village," as she fired multiple fireballs at the dome, but they were extinguished instantly. Kisame chuckled, "Here kitty, kitty," as he pushed the water dome in her direction. A ball of red flame shot out of Yugito's mouth and exploded against the water dome in front of her, yelling, "Nekomata Gukakyu." Even though the dome remained intact after the mist cleared, it wasn't enough. "Is that all you have available?" As he moved the dome in her direction, Kisame laughed. With a massive cat form that leveled buildings upon landing, Yugito leapt back and said, "Well, you have the elemental advantage here, but I'll just have to overwhelm you." 3 perfectly red fireballs formed at the tips of her tails and in front of her mouth as her tails spread out. Kisami's eyes grew wide, saying, "Oh crap. Nekomata Taju Gukakyu." The water dome collapsed under the intense heat that was quickly vaporizing everything it touched, leaving a battered Kisame standing in the middle of the destroyed street with his Akatsuki cloak shredded. The 3 balls shot forward at high speeds and quickly reached their target in a matter of seconds. They slammed into the dome with incredible force before they exploded with a roar, sending a wave of heat in all directions. "Someone's PM Sing," Kisame exclaimed with a maniacal smile. Yugito shouted, "Fuck you," and growled. "Sweden. Daikoden no Jutsu." The swordsman shot back, forming a hand seal. "You're a little too young for me," he said. Yugito's large cat form was struck by a massive water shark that burst from the remnants of the water dome. Yugito thought, "Fuck, he got me," as the water forced her to return to her normal form. "Bastard," she rasped back as she stood up. "What if I am to chop off your legs?" Kisame offered. "Leader, Sama needs you alive so you won't die," as he accepted Samahata. "I used Nekomata Gukakyu 4 times so the air should be sufficiently charged. I hope," Yugito shot back, raising her hands to the dark clouds that had formed overhead. "What are you doing right now?" Before he heard the audible evidence of lightning striking the earth, Kisame asked. "Kirin, right on." As she brought down her jutsu, Yugito yelled. He muttered, "Oh crap," and looked up in time to see a huge, dog-like monster composed of lightning strike the spot where he was standing. After 100 feet or so, the surrounding buildings were melted in a column of blue and white light by the tremendous heat and shockwaves that resulted from the blast, and Yugito was seen breathing heavily a few feet away from a bleeding, but still conscious, Kisame who was holding Samahata above his head. "You defended against my jutsu with that damn sword of yours, isn't that the source of your power?" As Yugito realized, he asked. Kisame smiled and made another hand seal. "So you figured it out, huh? It's not going to help you," he said. But Raiden no Yoroi wasn't going to give him the chance. Electricity danced over her skin as she disappeared in a flash, shocking Kisame by materializing in front of him. "Kaizuki." As she struck her target, she yelled. Kisame smiled and said, "Heh heh, it looks like you were too fast for me," before his head and now dead body crashed into the ground. "I must move quickly to assist Tayuya," Yugito thought to herself before she left. Fire Country. Hokage Tower Debris Field, Konoha. Eyeing the Uchiha murder, Tayuya thought to herself, "Genjutsu won't work against this guy, so that leaves ninjutsu and taijutsu. Gukakyu no jutsu." Kaden. When she noticed the massive fireball barreling toward her, her eyes widened. She raised her hands to the fireball, thinking, "Oh fuck, Shinra Tensai. Mokuton. Daijiren no Jutsu," she shouted as she extended her arm, and it transformed into several wooden spears that shot out towards the mass murderer of the Uchiha. The fireball vanished just before it touched her. "Jutsu Mokoton," Itachi remarked, "that is surprising," as he sidestepped the attack with ease. "But power does not always equal strength. Uzumaki Tayuya," he concluded, landing on the debris once more. "Utakata," he whispered, raising his hand to his side. Tayuya was caught in his genjutsu and froze, but before he could kill her, Tayuya swiftly stabbed her arm to dispel the illusion. "You need to put in more effort than that," with a quick step forward, the redhead exclaimed. Itachi said coolly as he moved to intercept, "It looks you learned some interesting tricks from Naruto. With lightning encasing her right hand, Tayuya yelled, "Chidori! Jutsu from Kakashi, huh?" To Tayuya's surprise, Itachi also spoke while his left hand was covered in lightning. "Well then, Chidori," he said. 3 paces apart, they took a breath. 2 steps away, they let out a sigh. They took a step back and breathed in. A mere step apart, they collided. The two were flung backwards, sending dust flying, and they crashed into the wall that encircled the wreckage of the Hokage Tower. Tayuya got up unsteadily, shook herself, and looked back at her opponent, the Uchiha, who was standing, apparently unharmed, his Akatsuki cloak billowing in the breeze. "How the devil are you familiar with Chidori?" The query was posed by the red-headed Uzumaki. "I took inspiration from an interaction I had with my younger brother 3 years prior, during our initial attempt to apprehend Yugito-chan and Naruto. I'm not worried about Sasuke, but his jutsu was, to put it mildly, interesting," Itachi shot back, spinning his Sharingan wildly. With her gaze directed away from the Uchiha's Sharingan, Tayuya snarled to herself, "Fuck, if he can counter Chidori like that, then what am I supposed to do? Genjutsu is useless and my gravity jutsus won't do much against someone like him." She heard the whisper, "Kaden. Hosenka no Jutsu," and saw Itachi shoot several tiny fireballs in her direction. "Fujutsu Kyuin," she whispered, and the fireballs were absorbed by a sphere. Like barrier in front of her. "Shit," she thought, raising her hands in front of her. Itachi remarked, "You are too slow, Uzumaki Tayuya," as he quickly materialized behind her. She turned quickly, Shinra Tensai, and with a loud crash, she sent him crashing back against the wall. Itachi said, "Impressive but still useless," as he materialized behind her once more. Turning back to face him, Tayuya thought, "The one I hit must have been a clone." When Itachi said, "Bunshin Deibakuha," Tayuya's eyes grew wide. The redhead gasped in shock as Itachi exploded, sending her flying into the barrier surrounding the Hokage Tower's ruins. He must have been the one I hit with Shinra Tensai and had his clone get in close during my 5-second recharge time, she thought to herself. But how would he know that exact weakness? She wondered. "Uzumaki Tayuya, you fought well, but I've faced off against Rinnegan users just like you before. During my initiation into Akatsuki, I once faced off against Leader Sama and lost decisively. Though Leader Sama is too strong to let me take advantage of these flaws, you aren't. Nevertheless, I did discover a few exploitable weaknesses in the Rinnegan. You have no experience at all," Itachi said emphatically. "Fuck you," the redhead growled. Itachi remained silent as he lunged forward, determined to eliminate her for good. Just as he got close, a powerful gust of wind knocked him back. Tayuya, too, was taken aback and glanced up at the person who had suddenly appeared between her and the Uchiha. Futon. Daitopa, the crimson and orange figure, muttered his jutsu name. "Naruto?" When Tayuya saw her brother, she asked in shock. "Tayuya, you did great, now go relax." Naruto assured her, "I've got this," maintaining eye contact with the Uchiha. Naruto.kun, Itachi uttered dryly. "This is over now." Fire Country. Hokage Tower debris field, Konoha. Gazing at the mass murderer Uchiha, Naruto thought to himself, "This isn't going to be easy." "Naruto? You're back. Was I too late?" Yugito asked, settling down next to him in a moment. "No, you're just in time," Naruto answered. "I probably shouldn't bring this up, but now that I've mastered Senjutsu, I'm able to sense chakra signatures. Has Hokage Sensei gone somewhere?" Tayuya and Yugito did not respond to that. With a final, okay. Naruto clenched his fists in rage. His eyes were unique in that the Rinnegan circle patterns overlapped the pupil, which was a horizontal slit. The standard gray color was surrounded by an outermost circle that was red at the edge of his eyes and an innermost circle that was yellow. His Rinnegan appears different from what it was before. I still have plenty of chakra to take on Naruto-kun, but if reinforcements show up, I won't have any more. Itachi thought, my only option is to lure him away since Kitsune has clearly been defeated, but he quickly turned. Yugito cried out, he's getting away, as the Uchiha leapt over the barricade and headed for the eastern gate. Naruto turned quickly and told her, I'm going after him, you stay and help Tayuya, he won't get away. All right, but bring Katsuyu along, she'll let you keep in touch with us, Yugito said, passing the little summoned slug to him. I appreciate it, Naruto said with a nod before pursuing Itachi. As Itachi stopped in a clearing in the forest west of the village, he thought to himself, this should be far enough away for us to do battle without response teams arriving too soon. Naruto descended from above, yelling, Rasengan, as Itachi barely avoided the jutsu that had just struck the spot he was standing on. Naruto straightened up and slowly turned to face Itachi. Didn't our confrontation in Wind Country teach you anything? You cannot expect to defeat me with such direct attacks, Itachi remarked. Naruto grinned and said, I can be any number from 1 to 1000. Who needs to be indirect? Itachi questioned curiously, what happened to your Rinnegan Naruto-kun? It seems different from before. It's a secret, Naruto scoffed as he leapt over the foliage. Itachi thought, what is he? Oh dear, and dove into the earth. He whispered, Doden. Mogaragakure no Jutsu, before vanishing beneath the earth. Shinra Tensai. Naruto unleashed a tremendous blast of gravity that completely destroyed the surrounding area. The wave of destruction swept over the collapsing forest, tossing boulders, trees, and the earth itself, until all that remained was a massive crater more than 10 miles wide and 40 feet deep. With his coat billowing in the breeze, Naruto touched down in the middle of this, the smooth surface he had made visible beneath the dust. Itachi said, impressive Naruto-kun, as he emerged from the ground, but undeniably reckless. Throwing that much chakra into a gravity jutsu must have exhausted your ability manipulation to gravity. It will take several minutes for you to gain control over it again, and that leaves you vulnerable. Naruto asked, you sure know a lot about the Rinnegan, don't you? I once fought leader Sama when I first joined Akatsuki. He won without a doubt and I was clearly outmatched. However, I was able to learn several of his weaknesses, Itachi replied with a smile. Naruto yelled, well, come on then, and motioned for him to attack. He is no longer responding to my regular genjutsu, and I don't want to use the Mangekyo Sharingan unless absolutely necessary. Itachi thought, I must stick to my regular jutsu for the time being, and he rapidly formed multiple hand seals. He let out a great ball of fire, yelling, Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu, toward the young sage in front of him. Seeing it coming, Naruto slammed his palm down hard on the ground and exclaimed, Doden. Doryuheki no Jutsu. Before him, the ground rose, forming a wall against the approaching attack. A moment later, it struck the wall and dissipated, making Itachi narrow his eyes at the lack of damage. He has a lot of elemental ninjutsu, Itachi observed with haste. He can use elements other than his natural affinity even without his gravity jutsu. In Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, two clones materialized next to Naruto. I'll wrap it up with this, he said, extending his hand to the clones, who began channeling chakra right away. What is he doing? Which chakra levels are these? As Itachi's Sharingan whirled at the sight of the jutsu taking shape, he thought to himself. Considering how many wind blades that jutsu has, is this how he beat Orochimaru? What a terrifying sound, he thought to himself as he heard a bell. Like screech and saw the chakra ball that had formed in Naruto's hand suddenly sprout 4 large wind blades, resembling a large chakra shuriken. Naruto yelled, Futon. Rasen Shuriken, as he twisted to launch the jutsu like a standard shuriken. He tossed it. How is he able to throw such a powerful chakra in such a way? Itachi shifted to the side in order to avoid the jutsu, thinking in alarm. His eyes grew wide as he saw that the jutsu had suddenly expanded to encompass his right arm in a ball of wind, right when it was next to him. Itachi grunted in pain as he managed to break free from the small hurricane and roll along the more level terrain. With a loud boom, the ball burst behind him, and then the entire crater fell silent again. Itachi looked quickly to see if his right arm was still there, but it was completely destroyed and reduced to atoms by the previous jutsu. With a tiny smile, Naruto said, "Damn. I missed." He was happy that he had managed to destroy Itachi's right arm, even though he was panting a little. Without any delay, the clones next to him began channeling chakra into his hand once more, saying, "You can't win, Itachi." Itachi realized as he heard the bell-like screech of the extremely dangerous jutsu thrown at him a moment ago, his strength. He is forcing me into a corner. I mustn't allow him to catch me with that jutsu again. Naruto yelled, "Futon! Rasen Shuriken," as he threw the chakra shuriken at him once more. Itachi said, "I have no choice," briefly closing his eyes before opening them again to display his Mangekyo Sharingan. He whispered, "Amaterasu," and black flames shot out of his eyes. In the space of a single breath, the black flames struck the chakra shuriken, causing it to expand before imploding moments later. Naruto was breathing heavily now, and the color and shape of his eyes had returned to normal. I can only perform 2 Rasen Shuriken each, even in Sage mode. With a gasp for air, Naruto thought, "I only have 4 left." Itachi remarked, "It would seem that your jutsu has worn off," as he noticed his opponent's muscles suddenly appearing to be on the verge of failure. Instead of answering, Naruto made the hand seal, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Beside him, a lone clone materialized, and he gave it the big scroll on his back. Itachi observed inquisitively as the clone rapidly unraveled the scroll, demonstrating that there was no need to utter the command. Itachi yelled, "I won't let you pull off any of your jutsu," and he charged forward, lightning chakra suddenly encasing his hand. Holding a spinning ball of chakra in his hand, Naruto shot forward as well, shouting back, "Let's see you try and stop me." Rasengan. Chidori. A moment after the two clashed in the center, the 2 jutsus exploded, launching mud and dust into the air. Itachi crashed through a tree, while Naruto rolled across the ground to a halt as they flew back in different directions. "Itachi, did you always have this much strength?" The young wise man stood shakily once more and asked in thought. Itachi stood there as well, appearing unharmed. "I sliced his arm clean off, and he doesn't even look winded." Itachi said emphatically, "I only need my eyes to fight you, Naruto-kun. I do not need my arms." The clone that Naruto had created earlier cried out, "Gyaku Kachiyose no Jutsu," and slammed his hand down on the unraveled scroll. Its kanji flared, and a puff of smoke revealed another clone. A moment after the two dispelled themselves, the real Naruto sensed the sage chakra that he had grown accustomed to entering his body. His eyes, which had horizontal slits in order to prevent his eyes from getting caught in the Uchiha's genjutsu, changed color from blue to red and yellow. Naruto yelled, "Come here," as he shot forward at speeds that were supposed to be unattainable for people. He yelled, "Kawazu Kumite," and punched the Uchiha in the head. As he got closer, Itachi's Sharingan followed him, and the Uchiha dodged the blow with ease. But at that moment, Itachi felt as though Senju Tsunade herself had struck his cheek, and he was blasted back through a tree. What was that? It was not gravity manipulation, nor was it Kyuubi's chakra. Itachi realized as he quickly recovered, "I need to keep my distance if I can't predict it." In an instant, Naruto materialized above him, holding a massive whirling fireball in his right hand. Naruto yelled, "Kaden! Dai Rasendan," as the whirling ball of fire streaked toward Itachi's location. Amaterasu, black flames erupted, causing the massive fireball to explode before its time and sending a tremendous ball of fire and heat shooting outward. Itachi said, "This is getting dangerous," as the flames subsided and only his arm was seriously hurt. Part of his cloak was singed, though. "Kaden! Dai Rasendan!" The youthful wise man yelled once more before launching another whirling ball of fire toward the Uchiha. Naruto's eyes returned to their normal form and color, indicating that his sage mode had once again depleted, and Itachi could feel his eyes were bleeding heavily at this point. He forced himself to dodge the attack. Both of them were panting heavily by this point, Naruto more so than the other after launching 5S rank jutsu at his opponent in quick succession. "I cannot allow him to recharge his jutsu again. His strength has exceeded my expectations," Itachi thought, and his Mangekyo Sharingan spun rapidly. Regretfully, Naruto found himself in his line of sight when he unleashed his strongest genjutsu, Tsukuyomi. The area surrounding them turned to a mixture of red light and shadows. As the group assisted injured shinobi and civilians in the damaged streets, Shikamaru questioned, "What do you mean Naruto is fighting Itachi alone?" Katsuyu said, "He's asked that no one interfere. He's so full of himself. This is Uchiha Itachi we're talking about. The man who wiped out an entire ninja clan in one night and just killed the Yondaime Hokage. We have to go after him," Kiba growled. "No," Shikaku said, startling the teenagers and adults in the vicinity. "If he's mastered senjutsu, then he's in a class of his own now. The best we can do in this situation is to stay out of his way and don't be a drag on him." "You can't be serious," Kiba muttered, slightly disgusted and in disbelief. They all shivered and looked toward the eastern horizon, where a column of red light was rising from the tree line, as a wave of bloodlust passed over them. Shikaku trailed off, "That's," as the others soon realized what he meant. Inoichi questioned the others, "He's using Kyuubi's chakra? Is that safe?" With his fists clenched, Yugito shot back, "Not when allies are around, no, but for him to use it now means he's been backed into a corner." Itachi used Tsukuyomi on Naruto and it must have done something to Naruto's control. "I am uncertain of what is happening exactly," Katsuyu said. Yugito said, "Wait," as she turned. She asked the two Hyuga in the group, "How many tails does he have?" With her Byakugan in hand, Hinata stammered, "T. There are S.6 tails." With a start, Yugito repeated, 6. Itachi thought to himself as he looked at the human-sized crimson chakra fox in front of him. That wasn't supposed to happen. It was covered in a bone structure resembling a skeleton and had 6 swishing tails behind it. Naruto.kun. This is the power of the Kyuubi within you, and you suppress it every day? I still find it amazing that you have such control over the Rinnegan, Naruto.kun. With a burst of dust, the red-haired fox leapt forward and swiftly materialized above Itachi. Naruto jumped away, causing the Uchiha to react quickly. He then lowered his fist to land where Itachi had been standing. While Itachi barely avoided being in the path of the shockwave that followed, a significant chunk of the terrain was leveled. It's understandable why Madara views him as a threat. He can produce a shockwave that size with just one hand. As Itachi looked into the white eyes of the crimson chakra fox, he realized that Naruto.kun could very well end up killing him where the Shodai, Yondaime, and I failed. "I do apologize Naruto.kun, but I cannot die here," he thought to himself. He said, "Amaterasu," as black flames slashed Naruto's side. "Kyuubi's chakra is too dense for even Amaterasu to penetrate," cried Naruto, howling in agony as the flames missed his chakra cloak. With an earth-shattering screech, Naruto suddenly seemed to be spewing blue and red orbs that seemed to appear out of the air and gather at his open mouth. Itachi's eyes widened as the balls compressed into a single sphere and shot at him at unexpected speeds. Rokubiko Imari. Susanoo. The globe surrounding them was consumed by the ball's explosion and turned into a tiny sun after a few drawn-out seconds. The blast finally subsided, revealing both fighters standing in the freshly formed crater left by the previous attack. With a sword in one hand and a shield in the other, Itachi assumed the shape of a Yamabushi and stood at the center of a vast spiritual aura. Itachi growled, "You still impress me, Naruto.kun," feeling his jutsu begin to consume his body and soul. "I doubt you are conscious at the moment, but please pay attention, for no one has ever seen this jutsu and lived to tell about it." Naruto retaliated by letting out another ear-shattering scream that sent the Uchiha flying through the air. As the shockwave swept over him, the Yamabushi raised his shield. It held, and Itachi batted the shockwave to one side as he swung the sword at his intended target. As the sword passed through the fox's chest and out the other side, Itachi cried out, "Fuin." After a few drawn-out moments, the bones vanished as Itachi withdrew the blade and observed the chakra surrounding Naruto gradually diffuse. After the Kyuubi's chakra had totally left his body, Naruto collapsed to his knees and spilt blood onto the harsh surface. Itachi said simply, "Do you see the futility of fighting now? Surrender?" Naruto roared to his feet once more, "You really think that I'm just going to roll over and die? Just like that? Fuck no." The glare Naruto directed at Itachi caused his eyes to enlarge. His eyes, Uchiha thought to herself. Even more than before, Naruto's eyes had changed. They now had a combination of the Rinnegan and Kyuubi's eyes in Sage mode. This raised the question, is he utilizing his jutsu, the Rinnegan and Kyuubi's chakra together? Absurd. Nobody could conceivably possess that degree of control. Am I in sage mode already? My last sage clone must have been dispelled by Kyuubi's chakra, Naruto concluded, glaring at the Uchiha in front of him. The blonde raised both of his hands in front of him and exclaimed, "I'll never give up. I'll never surrender. Come on. I only have one chance at this," Naruto exclaimed, gathering all the chakra he could from the Kyuubi's seal without switching back to fox mode. "Shinra Tensei," he exclaimed as the powerful gravitational shock swept across the terrain. "No." Itachi's eyes grew wide as the last blow caused the Yamabushi to break instantly. "I'm at my limit," he said, dropping to the ground and coughing up blood into his only working hand. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu caused dozens of clones to appear next to Naruto, and they moved forward right away. He intends to overwhelm me with greater numbers, Itachi realized, inhaled deeply. Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu. He released a massive fireball without using hand seals, destroying the approaching clones in a matter of seconds. What surprised everyone, though, was when a spinning chakra shuriken appeared through the smoke. From the clearing smoke, Naruto cried out, "Futon! Rasen Shuriken!" Amaterasu. Itachi unleashed a second burst of black flames at the chakra shuriken, instantly destroying it as it got closer. Itachi's eyes widened in shock as a second chakra shuriken materialized behind the first, raising the question. He used Kage Shuriken no Jutsu. The second shuriken exploded a short distance behind Itachi after striking him squarely and slicing through his torso in a single, fast blow. The Uchiha was flung in two directions and came to rest a short distance from the ground. Itachi forced himself to look up at the blonde for the last time as a stream of blood spurted from his upper body. With a quick thought, he mumbled, "Tsukuyomi. Unusual behavior. Tsukuyomi." Suddenly, Naruto was in a house of some sort, strewn with ornaments and weapons. As he moved slowly through the room, he asked himself, "Where am I? We have to take action right away. We will no longer put up with their flagrant disregard for the Uchiha clan." Naruto turned to face the voice and swung his head toward the window. A man who resembled an older Itachi was speaking to a group of people wearing the Uchiha family crest down the street below. He said, "We have to get up and take back the village that our ancestor, Uchiha Madara, founded. It is believed by the Hokage and the council that we called upon the Kyuubi to assault Konoha and eliminate the Namikaze Minato. We can't let this keep happening." "What is this?" thoughtfully, Naruto inquired. Naruto quickly turned and saw a perfectly normal Itachi standing behind him. "This is memory," he said. "You prevailed, but there are still unresolved issues. I'm dying. This is among them," Itachi went on. "What are you talking about?" Naruto inquired. "My father, Uchiha Fugaku, was organizing the Uchiha clan to seize Konoha in a hostile manner." Naruto recoiled in shock as Itachi revealed that the entire clan was preparing a coup d'état. Shaking his head, Naruto exclaimed, "Why the hell should I believe that? That can't be true." "But it is. Additionally, for the benefit of Danzo, the elders, and the Yondaime Hokage, I was operating as a double agent inside the Uchiha clan." The scene around them changed, and Itachi said clearly, "When talks with the clan broke down, they ordered me to destroy the clan." In an instant, they found themselves in a chamber at the foot of the Hokage tower. A younger Itachi was bowing his head in front of Danzo and the Konoha elders. "Hiruzen's negotiations have failed. A civil war is coming if we don't stop it now," Kaharu stated simply. His belief that the Uchiha will actually listen is useless if a war starts here. "We have to eliminate the problem at the source," Danzo said with conviction. "If we wait, then it could be the start of the Fourth Great Shinobi War," he said. "What must be done?" Itachi inquired. Danzo finally responded, "The Uchiha must be neutralized before they plunge this entire continent into war. Weasel. You are to make sure the peace in Konoha is maintained at any cost." After a brief moment, the scene abruptly changed once more, and Naruto found himself in a white room with Itachi just a few feet away. Itachi said plainly, "As you can see, I was under orders to destroy the clan." "Do you regret any of it?" Naruto inquired. "Do I feel bad about killing my parents and the other clan traitors? No, but I will always feel guilty about killing the defenseless, kids, and infants." Itachi replied candidly, "Sasuke was the only person I couldn't bring myself to kill." "Why are you showing me this?" Naruto asked. "Because all I have left are leader Sama's ideals. I think you share his desire for peace." If you are to bring about peace, you must have this knowledge, Itachi answered. You mean pain? With a hint of anger in his voice, Naruto questioned. Itachi answered, yes, though he is not the true leader of Akatsuki. True leader? Naruto asked. The man who helped me destroy the Uchiha clan, the man who aided Akatsuki, and the man who summoned Kyuubi no Yoko to attack Konoha 16 years ago. Uchiha Madara, replied Itachi. You have a terrible chakra that makes me think of Uchiha Madara. The name caused Naruto's eyes to widen. Who the hell is Madara? He founded the Uchiha clan in Konoha, as you heard my father mention earlier. In a sense, Konoha was correct and the Uchiha were in charge of the attack 16 years ago, but he was able to control the Kyuubi like a pet. Though I'm not sure what his strategy is, I can tell you that right now he is not as strong as he once was. Despite the fact that the Yondaime Hokage severely injured him, he is still a very dangerous shinobi. You will eventually have to confront him. Crows gathered around the couple as Itachi spoke quietly. I hope you're prepared when you do. A crow plunged into Naruto's mouth and forced its way down his throat. After it vanished, Naruto fell to the ground, breathing heavily but not hurting. He struggled to breathe and glared at the mass murderer of Uchiha standing in front of him. What did you do to me? Naruto made a demand. Itachi said, I gave you some of my power, though I pray that you are never forced to use it, and turned to walk away. My time is over, and you already know that Sasuke will be pursuing you, don't you? Naruto said, his retribution demands it, but he said nothing more. With those words, I've done all that I can. The rest is up to you. The entire world was illuminated. Fire Country. Frontier area, close to Konoha. Gazing downward, Naruto saw Itachi's upper body frozen in place, while his lower body lay motionless a few feet to his left. Abruptly, a brilliant beam of light burst from the body and shot into Naruto's grasp. A brief moment later, the light subsided to reveal a second chakra crystal, this one crimson and extremely hot to the touch. I will grant you the fourth of 6 resurrections, Shiki Fojin. What in the world are you? Naruto inquired, but got no response. Naruto stood over the defeated opponent's body, clenching his fists, and then he sighed. He ducked under his cloak and withdrew a small scroll. With haste, he closed the body in the scroll, got back up, and turned to walk away. He glanced back at the spot where Itachi had been lying before proceeding towards Konoha. He stumbled a little while walking, but he didn't stop. Naruto continued to stroll sluggishly through the trees, thinking to himself, Itachi. All you wanted to do was stop a war from breaking out. You didn't deserve this. He staggered, losing his footing and tumbling forward. Crap. His right arm was draped over someone's shoulder the next thing he knew. Tayuya? With a snort of laughter, the red-headed Uzumaki asked, what are you doing here? Katsuyu informed us that you had won, so knowing you, I went out to retrieve you since I knew you would probably go overboard once more. Oh, and you weigh a lot, in case I forgot. The redhead grinned and suggested that perhaps you try dieting. Naruto responded with a snort, smartass, as she guided his gait into a straight line. He questioned her, what about the others? The Green Wonder and Arrow. Hokage perished. Yugito and the old slug are taking care of everyone else. Tayuya muttered, it could have been a lot worse, and Naruto had to agree, albeit sourly. He said, and you? To her. With a smile, the redhead said, I've had better days. With a tiny chuckle, the youthful wise man questioned, haven't we all? Try to stay conscious, Whiskers, Tayuya smirked. Cheers. I believed it to be a shit stain. With a flimsy smile, the blonde inquired. The redhead answered, you've been promoted to Whiskers, so deal with it. Naruto remarked, I think you've been spending too much time around Anko, as the two got closer to Konoha's eastern gates. He asked, what's that? As soon as he saw the group of people gathered at the gates. One of the villagers called out, hey there they are. Naruto. Fantastic work. As other villages also expressed their gratitude, one village yelled. One of the shinobi in the crowd cheered, yeah you did great. W. What is this? As several of the villagers ran towards him, Naruto said, startled. I said Katsuyu told us everything, didn't I? Everyone knows that you defeated Itachi when even Arrow Hokage was unable to do so, Tayuya said, just as Naruto found himself encircled by both ninja and villagers. The young sage exclaimed, Naruto, as he turned to see Yugito move in front of him. Hi Yugito. I've returned, Naruto said, grinning a little. She smacked his head and said, "You reckless idiot," making him back a little. The audience let out another round of applause as soon as he realized that she had planted a kiss on him. After a short while, Yugito withdrew and uttered, "I hope you never cause me to worry like that again." Naruto apologized for worrying you, Yugito, and grinned. He pulled her into another kiss and said, "Thanks for caring," to a cheering crowd. Today was the official start of the Yondaime Hokage's reign. Fire Nation. Council Chamber, Daimyo's Palace. We intend to persist in collaborating with other nations in countering the threat posed by Akatsuki. Homura made it abundantly evident to the Fire Daimyo and City Council. Fire Country will make every effort to assist in the reconstruction of Konoha following this most recent attack. First things first, we need to create a budget, taking into account the pressure on other nations. I guess we should be grateful that the village survived this incident, nodded one of the council members. There is something else we should consider first. Who will be the next Hokage? It was Danzo who posed the query. The Fire Daimyo pondered, I was thinking Tsunade would be a fine choice. She is the granddaughter of the Shodai Hokage and is a student of the Sandaime Hokage. She gambles and drinks as well. Kaharu said, Konoha might struggle with her authority if she were made Hokage. Who will it be then? Inquired the daimyo. Well, Danzo started, but the main doors shot open, cutting him off. I'm sorry for bothering daimyo Sama, but I have a serious matter to attend to, Naruto said as he entered the chamber, accompanied by Tayuya, Sai, and a group of Anbu and Jonin. Uzumaki Naruto, what is the meaning of this? Kaharu demanded, getting up from her seat along with everyone else in the room. Naruto simply replied, you are under arrest, gesturing to her and her friends. Anbu, take the elders into custody, was his command, which the Anbu promptly carried out. On what charge? Homura made a demand. Naruto's response, attempted genocide of a Konoha clan, stunned everyone in the room. He knows about the Uchiha clan. I can't let him live with that knowledge, Danzo said, visible eye narrowing even more at his own words. He retreated a step as two figures, Fu, Torun, materialized in front of him. I'm going to open the seal on my arm, so cover me. His arm was covered in some sort of cast when he removed his bandages. He said, it's a good thing I remembered these two when Itachi attacked. But I never expected Sai to betray me. That in order for Kyuubi Jinchuuriki to dare oppose me in this way, he must have broken the seal on his tongue. Shinra Tensai, Tayuya muttered, and as Sai and the Anbu grabbed the two village elders, both root agents were slammed through the wall. You can't do this, Kaharu yelled in fury. Naruto grinned at Danzo and the now stiff elders, saying, I apologize for the disturbance, daimyo Sama, but I must make sure the peace in Konoha is maintained at all costs. The words he had used surprised all three of them because they were reminiscent of the night they had given the order to destroy the Uchiha clan. Danzo dropped the metal cast and showed off his right arm, which was covered in multiple Sharingan. Where did you get those Sharingan? Naruto inquired. With a cryptic. Here and there. It's a long story, Danzo answered. To everyone's surprise, Naruto said, so you and the elders really did order Itachi to exterminate the Uchiha. If that's the case, when are you going to stop? When will everyone become one of your stupid drones? I can't let you carry on with this needless killing. Irrelevant. There haven't been any wars in a long time because of what I have always done for Konoha's benefit, Danzo retorted. Shodai and Nidaime Hokages gave you and the other elders the mantle, entrusting you with Konoha's future. Naruto said emphatically, it's time for you to step aside and place your faith in the youth of today, even though he felt the last sentence sounded more like something Lee would say. Danzo said, no, I am the only one who can ensure Konoha's continued survival, as he quickly advanced at breakneck speed while performing multiple hand seals. Shinra Tensai, Naruto muttered, and with a thud and a spray of blood, Danzo was flung back against the distant wall. To the amazement of everyone in the room, Danzo said, your Rinnegan is impressive. Namikaze Naruto, suddenly appearing where he had been standing unharmed. Self-sacrifice is what defines a shinobi. Scorning the sun and working in the shadows is what has always been a true shinobi, in my opinion. He was a better man than that bastard. That is how many ninja have died. Niceties won't make the world go round. Itachi is not the only one. We have been able to keep the peace because of individuals like that. Itachi betrayed Konoha by disclosing his secret, and you have now done the same by challenging me. Shunpo no Jutsu, a flash of yellow light revealed Naruto in front of him. Kawazu Kumite. After Danzo was thrown through the wall behind him, the punch struck him hard in the chest. The two ended up falling into the trees below and outside the palace's tower. A few seconds later, they landed on firm ground and narrowed their eyes at each other. Well, Danzo's eyes, all of them. Danzo said, "Now we must speak with our eyes, Namikaze Naruto." Fire country. Wooded area close to Daimyo's castle. Danzo declared emphatically, "Now we must speak with our eyes, Namikaze Naruto. You have impressive defensive capabilities. Good offense as well judging by your last attack." Confused, Naruto uttered, "I should have broken your back with that jutsu. I landed a direct hit on you. Was it a genjutsu? No, my eyes would be able to tell if you tried to cast one on me even if you used those Sharingan of yours." Danzo told him, "You should turn in Namikaze Naruto. Cho Udama Rasengan." Naruto yelled as he leapt at him, possibly in reaction to what he had said. His right hand held a big, spinning chakra ball that was bigger than his body. Standing his ground, Danzo watched as the jutsu detonated right on top of him, destroying everything in its path, including him, and leaving a massive crater in its wake. Standing in the middle of this freshly formed crater, Naruto saw Danzo emerge from behind him, still unharmed. How did he survive that time? I know my jutsu hit him. As Naruto leapt to avoid the barrage of wind bullets aimed at him, he pondered the question. Danzo yelled, "Futon! Shinkagyoku!" as he shot the blonde with spread wind bullets. Whispering, "Fujutsu Kyuin," Naruto caused the wind bullets to dissolve before they could touch him. Considering his age, he's not bad at all. Was Old Man Sandame also this strong? "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu," he said as he landed back on solid ground, his hand settling into a familiar seal. Two clones appeared next to him, charging his next jutsu, saying, "Let's see how invincible you are, you old prune." Danzo said, "That jutsu. The Yondaime Hokage's unfinished jutsu," as soon as he saw it. Naruto said, "For the record, it's not finished yet, I'm only at stage 5. I still have to reach stage 6, as a screech that sounded like a bell enveloped them." As he observed, Danzo thought, what an incredible concentration of concentrated chakra, a jutsu truly befitting the Kyuubi Jinchuuriki. Futon Rasen Shuriken was how Naruto threw the jutsu at the elder as he swiftly spun around. As the chakra shuriken sliced through Danzo, he thought, he threw it. I have no choice but to use Izanagi again. A moment later, it burst into a massive wind and power blast, obliterating his body in the process. Danzo reappeared a short distance from his previous location and said, "Kyuubi, it's not working here. Not even with the Rinnegan can defeat me. Give up, and I won't punish you." "I can see it," was Naruto's simple response. "What?" Danzo's main eye widened slightly. His eyes are different. "That's not the Rinnegan," he said. "I couldn't see if before but now I can. Those Sharingan in your arm close every time you survive my jutsu. Meaning I've killed you 3 times already and you still need to die 8 more times before you stay dead. I just have to outlast you." Naruto screamed as the colors in his eyes changed. Don't tell me with those eyes that he's simultaneously channeling Kyuubi's chakra, Sage Mode, and Rinnegan. Danzo thought, this is bad, he might actually be able to kill me, and he began to form hand seals. Kachiyose no Jutsu, and a moment later, a big tapir emerged in a cloud of smoke and began suckling in the surrounding air. How on earth could that be? As Naruto used his chakra to adhere to the ground, he thought alarmed thoughts. I can use the tapir's suction to increase my power now that he can't move, Danzo thought to himself as he emerged behind the blonde. Futon. Shinku Renpa. He exhaled sharply after taking a deep breath. Fujutsu Kyuin. Naruto whirled around, trying to absorb the jutsu, but it blew through and struck him in the body. What? How did he? Naruto exhaled as he was propelled backward from the collision, his body covered in numerous cuts. Danzo exclaimed, Futon. Shinku Taigoku, and then unleashed a compressed wind ball that struck Naruto and burst into a whirlwind of fire and wind. He checked the Sharingan on his arm a moment later and said, I still have 7, including Shisui's eye. Bansho Tenin, Danzo yelled as he leapt to the side, just in time to see a massive chunk of earth fall onto his previous position. With a whirling ball of chakra in his hand, Naruto materialized behind the elder in a flash of yellow, calling out, Rasengan. Danzo yelled, Fukanaikiri, as he turned to face his opponent and blew wind chakra on a kunai. Naruto took out the wind, enhanced kunai and threw it to the side as the two struck each other with their respective attacks, sending Danzo flying back to the crater's edge. That leaves 6. But I can't stop using Izanagi now, Danzo said, standing up again and appearing fully unharmed. Naruto remarked, for an old man you're strong, as his wounds quickly healed. And your ability to regenerate from just about any injury is tiring, Danzo said. Kyuubi in Sage Mode benefits, the blonde grinned and shrugged. You are strong, Kyuubi. But you also follow Hiruzen's teachings, the fool, Danzo said. Naruto asked, why do you believe that? Because a shinobi's duty is to ensure the peace of the land and operate in the shadows. You and Hiruzen are the same in believing peace is maintained with friendship, Danzo said with conviction. Arrow. Sennin believed that the day would come when people would truly understand each other, Naruto stated to him. And that is what makes you a fool. Just because people can understand one another doesn't mean that they can come to an agreement. Peace can only be maintained by destroying your enemies and ruling supreme, Danzo said. And that is exactly what I plan to do. Unite this world and rule it as one nation. Do you really think the world can be saved so easily? Naruto exclaimed, causing 2 clones to materialize beside him and begin to channel chakra into his hand. Danzo said, I am the only one who can guarantee peace for Konoha. I'm not worried about my own life. This is for Konoha, for the entire ninja world. I can't die now. I'll do anything to survive. I am the only one who can change this world. You will be nothing more than another sacrifice. Amidst the sound of hundreds of unceasing explosions, Naruto yelled, I won't allow it. Raising his jutsu, he threw it at the elder, saying, Kaden. Dai Resenden. Next to it, a crater comparable in size to the first one was left behind when the jutsu exploded with such force that the earth itself trembled. Danzo was seen standing in the middle of it once the dust settled, appearing unfazed by this most recent attack. Looking over the Sharingan on his arm, Danzo thought, 5 left, including Shisui's. I must finish this soon. Dropping the large scroll on his back and spreading it out on the ground, Naruto thought to himself, damn it, my Sage Mode is depleted. I have to recharge. With multiple hand seals, he slammed his palm down on the kanji that read, Gyaku Kachiyose no Jutsu. A clone materialized in a puff of smoke with the words, dispel quickly. An inverted call. Why wouldn't he just use the Toad Elders to gather the energy for him? He must have exhausted his Sage Mode. Maybe they can't. The Kyuubi must be to blame. Danzo surmised as Naruto made 4 clones to help him. What is he doing right now? The clones began sending chakra to Naruto's 2 hands. Don't tell me he can utilize 2 of them simultaneously, he thought alarmedly. Futon. Suin Rasen Shuriken. Naruto yelled at the elder while hurling the 2 chakra shurikens. Izanagi, Danzo thought as he was engulfed in 2 massive wind spheres by the 2 chakra shurikens. Breathing heavily, Naruto thought, damn it, 2 Rasen Shuriken or 2 Dai Resenden are my limit before Sage Mode is drained. But in an instant, Danzo was behind him, damn it. Danzo yelled, Fukanaikiri, as he sliced through Naruto's chest. Oh my god, Naruto growled. With a simple, you were too slow, I win, Danzo declared. Danzo said, no you don't, as he was covered in a thick layer of repulsive chakra and red chakra burst out of Naruto's body. It resembled a 6-tailed fox with a skeleton bordering it. Danzo saw the chakra fox and thought, so this is the power of the Kyuubi. Certainly a monstrous creature. With a horrifying shriek, the fox let out, this won't be easy. With a swift movement, the fox charged towards Danzo, but luckily, he managed to avoid it in time. When he observed the magnitude of the shockwave that was released from the impact, he thought, such outrageous strength. Chakra began to condense into a ball at the fox's mouth as it turned to face him. That is not good, the fox said. The fox said, Rokubiko Ima, in a gruff voice. Danzo yelled, Futon. Shinku Taigoku, as he launched a compressed wind ball towards the fox. The chakra ball became unstable and exploded into a dome of light that spanned a good 2 miles as a result of the wind ball striking the fox and making it lose focus. Thankfully, none of the others were in danger of being struck by their attacks and caught in the crossfire because they were far enough away from the daimyo's palace. That did not imply that they were blind to it. Danzo checked his arm again and thought, I have to suppress him now. He's too dangerous in this form. There are only 2 left. I have to make this count, the fox said, as 2 more tails sprouted up onto the shroud and its chakra began to bulge. At this pace, he could completely change, Danzo said, clenching his hands into a seal and removing the bandages from his right arm. The fox let out a roar as it shot skyward, expanding into a monstrous creature devoid of skin and fur and sporting 8 tails. Danzo had to leap clear of the way as it roared once more and swung its tails across the ground, leveling the terrain and shaking the ground itself. I was not prepared for his strength, Danzo realized to himself. I have to take action right away, he said, setting his right hand on the, and instantly a number of wooden pillars rose up from the earth surrounding the fox. He exclaimed, Hokage. Shikiji Junjutsu. Kakuon Nitten Suishu. As the wood caught the fox's tail and restrained it. Izanagi. He muttered as the chakra crystals inside the fox that surrounded Naruto's neck started to glow. So near, and still, too far. Danzo yelled, no, as the fox roared and tore itself free of its shackles. The creature's powerful chakra caused the wood to crumble, and it began to form a second, larger ball of concentrated chakra at its mouth, saying, I only have 1 Sharingan left. Shisui's, idiot. The fox roared, Hachibiko Amari, before launching its assault. A huge, concentrated chakra beam that vaporized everything it came into contact with, slicing a wide valley from Danzo's position to the foot of the neighboring mountain and even engulfing the mountain in a wave of devastation. Danzo was seen on one knee, obviously out of breath, with the last of his Sharingan closed when the dust settled. Danzo realized as he looked up at the hideous demon fox, I can't win. The 9th tail began to form, and with it, its skin and fur began to take shape. And then all of a sudden, it came to an end. The mindscape of Naruto, Jinchuuriki seal Naruto yelled, let go of me, no I won't let you control me anymore, as the crimson liquid engulfed and consumed him. Kyuubi grinned sadistically as Naruto's eyes rolled back into his head and his jacket unzipped to reveal the seal. Give your soul to me boy and I will destroy your enemies for you. Yes you're doing fine, Kyuubi said. With a smile on its face, the fox said, yours now, Naruto. Come here and rip this seal off. It turned into a black spiral. Nearly instinctively, Naruto moved toward the seal and extended his hand to seize it. Before someone grabbed his hand, Huh? Naruto asked, glancing over at the person who had caught it. Namikaze Minato remarked, I thought this might happen, before quickly turning and yanking his son out of the Kyuubi's cage. The fox saw the Yondaime Hokage and roared, you, in a fit of rage. With hesitation, Naruto said, Dad? As Minato moved him farther away from the seal. I worked it into the seal so that I would appear within your psyche when the seal unraveled to the point you unleashed 8 tails. Truth be told, I'd hoped you would never get that far especially since I didn't ever want to see you again Kyuubi, Minato said as he placed Naruto on his legs. But then again I was looking forward to meeting my son as a young man so I guess you can call it even. Kyuubi growled at him, Yondaime Hokage. Come here, I'll rip you to shreds. Yeah. Telling me you're going to rip me to shreds isn't going to make me come any closer, Minato remarked to the fox, speaking over his shoulder. He asked his son, right, Naruto? Unable to think of anything else, Naruto asked, Dad, what the hell are you doing here? Minato gestured to the fox and said, what does it look like? I'm saving you from the Kyuubi. Yondaime. Kyuubi growled angrily. After clicking his fingers, Minato said, damn, he sure is loud isn't he? Let's go somewhere quieter, and the two materialized in what appeared to be a white void. Hiruzen. Sama didn't tell you much of anything, did he? I know Jiraiya. Sensei told you about me during your training but I guess Hiruzen. Sama wanted to suppress as much information about the fox as possible. If folks had found out you were my son before you were ready then you would be in danger, I'm sorry. Dad, clenching his fists, was Naruto's response. He gave his father a hard punch to the stomach a moment later, making him wince. You complete moron, he exclaimed. Ouch, Minato flinched from the impact. And people say I pick up the recklessness from mom. Why would you even think about putting the Kyuubi inside your own son? How the hell could you put me through that? Naruto screamed with rage. I don't know if I'm happy or mad right now. As his son calmed down, Minato sighed and said, I see. How old are you Naruto? Just turned 16 last October, Naruto replied, wiping away his tears. Before turning away, Minato said, 16 already huh? It must have been hard. Can you ever forgive me? Though I suppose it's little consolation to you for me to put on a fatherly face and apologize after putting you through all that. Shaking his head, Naruto responded, no. I can deal. I still think you're a moron, but I can deal with that. His smile turned sorrowful as he said, I miss her. She was always so full of energy. Though that might have just been from the ramen. Minato simply grinned, just like your mother. Naruto said, I wish I could have met her. Minato smiled and said, I hope you don't see either of us for a long time after this. Don't take this the wrong way. Live your life to the fullest and have no regrets. I will, with a nod of comprehension from Naruto. With a sudden serious expression, Minato said, I sealed half of Kyuubi's chakra inside you because I trusted that you would master its power. Because you are my son. Naruto caught him off guard and said, Dad. Wait. You knew I would have the Rinnegan, didn't you? You're an Uzumaki of the royal family of Whirlpool. Of course I knew you would have the Rinnegan, and even if you didn't I knew you would find a way to master it eventually. There is however another reason I went through all of this trouble. It's based on something I learned 16 years ago when Kyuubi attacked Konoha, replied Minato. Confused, Naruto asked, what exactly? There was a mastermind behind Kyuubi's attack, who manipulated him and made him assault Konoha. He was quite a formidable shinobi, someone you would need extraordinary strength to stand against and hope to defeat, Minato responded. The man who helped me destroy the Uchiha clan, the man who aided Akatsuki, and the man who 16 years ago called upon Kyuubi no Yoko to attack Konoha. Madara Uchiha. Naruto said, Uchiha Madara, quite clearly. Minato gave a nod. Yes, I believe so. I know Jiraiya. Sensei had his suspicions and my hypothesis was only confirmed when Itachi mentioned Madara's name during your fight with him. Surprisingly, Naruto asked, you were watching? It's what I saw from the seal, Minato nodded. I know about Jiraiya. Sensei too. And about Pain. I know you want revenge on him, but I ask that you don't let it cloud your judgment. Sighing, Naruto uttered, I'll try. Back before Kyuubi's attack. Madara saw through all of my moves. He's no ordinary shinobi. I don't know what he's planning, but it can't be good, Minato went on. Naruto finally asked the question that had been bothering him. Why? Why is Konoha always the one that's targeted? So long as there exists a shinobi culture in this world, there may never be peace and order. Danzo talked about uniting nations and making Konoha rule the world. Perhaps he's right. War is born when one tries to save something precious. So long as love exists, hate does as well. That hatred uses shinobi thus, so long as we have shinobi culture, the monster known as hate will always give birth to new pains, Minato said. Pain may have killed Jiraiya Sensei, but if you think about it deeper, you could say that it was the disorder in the shinobi world that created pain and that killed Sensei. A battle against hatred, that's what shinobi are, in each and every one of us battles that hatred on a daily basis. Jiraiya Sensei entrusted you to find the answer to stopping this hatred. But I can't. Danzo killed the Uchiha clan and used Itachi to do it. Pain killed Ero. Sennin and Itachi killed Hokage. Sensei. I just can't, Naruto stated to him. I understand, Minato said with a nod. Naruto said, please tell me, what should I do? You have to find the answer yourself, for even I do not know it, said Minato. How the hell am I supposed to do that? Ero, Sennin, and even you have no clue. How the hell am I supposed to do something like this? Naruto yelled with rage. You'll find the answer. I believe in you, isn't that enough? Minato comforted his son by placing his right hand over his head. Why? Inquired Naruto. A parent's responsibility is to have complete faith in their offspring. Minato grinned and released his son's hair. He put his hand on Naruto's seal and it returned to its original form. Now. It's time for me to go. My chakra is fading, he said. I've repaired the seal, but this is a one-time thing. I can't do it again. Naruto looked at the seal and asked, it's fixed? With a look of surprise. Konoha can be rebuilt as long as the will of fire still burns. Good luck, Naruto. I'm counting on you, Minato said, fading away from view by this point. A moment later, he was gone entirely. Naruto said, thanks, Dad, as everything around him broke apart. Fire Country. close to Daimyo's palace, battlefield. What took place? Danzo pondered as he watched the fox appear to break like glass in front of his eyes and vanish into thin air. Did he manage to stifle the Kyuubi by himself? No, that's not possible. He was clearly unconscious, but he suppressed the Kyuubi even though it was almost fully formed. Who is he? Naruto questioned. Are you ready to finish this, Danzo? From the middle of the area where the big fox had previously been. My sage mode is recharged again. It appears that Kyuubi's chakra dispelled my last clone once more, Danzo exclaimed as trees appeared to emerge from his right arm. With a kunai in hand, he cut off his entire arm, causing it to grow into a large tree. It seems like you're reaching your limit too, he said. I'm not done yet, boy, shut up, Danzo spit at him. I can't do Izanagi anymore because I'm out of Sharingan, and I can't even cast that genjutsu because Shisui's eye is closed. Damn, this is going to hurt, but I don't have a choice, Naruto said as blue chakra burst from his body and he sealed his hands. Exactly 100 shadow clones appeared around him, exclaiming, Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. The clones advanced a moment later. Damn it, with the Rinnegan active I just know I'm going to have a monster headache in the morning. Danzo yelled, Futon, Shinkua, and let out a powerful gust of wind that destroyed the clones. Unfortunately, it was only a temporary solution for him. Naruto threw up a small gravity ball into the sky above them and yelled, Chibaku Tensai. No. As he and the rest of the earth were drawn up onto the miniature moon, Danzo uttered a thoughtful exclamation. This cannot be how I die. More rock slabs struck the structure, some of which fell. Is that right? On Danzo's position, burying him partially under a layer of solid rock. Even though Naruto's voice was hardly audible above a whisper, Danzo could still hear him say, I think you were right, Danzo. I think the only way to bring Konoha peace is to unite the world. But I can't accept your way of doing things. Danzo said, do not waver, acknowledging his fate. The small moon erupted, shouting, Shinra Tensai, as pieces of it fell to the earth all around Naruto. A column of light emerged from the ground where Danzo lay, and Naruto turned back after a few minutes of silence in remembrance of his fallen foe. An additional chakra crystal burst from the earth and struck his open hands. Could it be another one? 6 total. Geto Mazo. I'll worry about this later, Naruto simply shook his head. Then, he turned away once more and made his way back toward the daimyo's palace, bidding Danzo farewell. Had he lingered a little longer, he would have observed a figure resembling a plant rise from the earth. Black Zetsu remarked, that was great, I haven't seen a fight like that in years. White Zetsu said sharply, Madara. Sama is not going to be happy about this, before they vanished once more into the earth. Fire Nation. Council Chamber, Daimyo's Palace. Kaharu angrily exclaimed, you can't do this, while the Anbu restrained her. Naruto commanded, what are they still doing here? Get those traitors out of my sight, and the Anbu carried the 2 elders away while yelling and kicking their way through. It appears that the stories about your power are authentic, Namikaze Naruto, the fire daimyo said with a playful grin. I had wanted Senju Tsunade to be the Rokudame Hokage, but she will be needed more at the hospital than on the battlefield. That leaves you, he said. Naruto turned to face the fire daimyo and said, me? It's decided then. Namikaze Naruto, you will be the Rokudame Hokage, he said, flapping his fan back together. Wait. What? Fire Country. Council Chamber, Hokage Monument. This is too much. As he hurled the stacks of papers into the air, Naruto let out a frustrated cry. Hokage. Sama, some paperwork needs to be done, Shizune remarked, looking clearly amused by the circumstances. Tear out the paperwork. I have more pressing issues right now. Naruto shook his head and waved her remark away. Knock, knock, come in. Hopefully, Naruto wouldn't lose it when he called. With Yugito, the remaining members of the Konoha 10 came in. Oh, it's you guys. Is that all you have to say? Kiba inquired, seeming offended. Yes, it is dog breath, Naruto answered without missing a beat. The Inuzuka turned to Yugito before he could reply, saying, please tell me this is a social call. Mostly, Yugito grinned and nodded. Shisho is handling more of the injuries, but everything is fine for the moment. That's good. Sai and Tayuya are clearing away the last of Danzo's roots, so their return will be delayed. Naruto sighed and reclined in his new chair, hoping Akatsuki wouldn't try anything else for a while. Neji leaned against the far wall and thought, the new Hokage tower will take at least a month to build, and that is if everyone pulls double shifts. Our youthful fires have not faded, declared Lee. To everyone's surprise, a messenger barging into the temporary office exclaimed, Hokage. Sama. What is it now? Naruto inquired, obviously agitated. The messenger answered, some Kumo nins have come to see you and Yugito, Sama. Without delay, Naruto said, show them in. Yugito recognized the 3 Kumo nins as soon as they entered. Samui, Karui and Omoi too. What's going on? Yugito inquired. Kumo was attacked by Akatsuki 4 days ago, Samui retorted. What? Yugito inquired, startled. Kurabi. Sensei is missing, Raikage. Sama is dead, and the entire village has been destroyed. All of our ninja are being recalled. The council sent us here to get you, Samui said. Grandfather, are you also Kurabi? Sensei? How? Who carried it out? Yugito made a demand. As Samui answered, I do not know his name, but I do know one thing. He wielded the Rinnegan. The room's temperature abruptly dropped. Pain. Naruto let out a growl. Him. Yugito's fists tightened at her sides as she gritted her teeth in rage. With a turn toward Naruto, she declared, I'm going home. Naruto turned to the team in question and nodded, understanding. Team Guy will escort you out of Fire Country, Naruto said. This can't continue like this. Would you kindly send a message to the 5 main nations, Shikamaru? Tell them I'm requesting a 5-cage summit in Iron Country. The command startled everyone. What a drag. Yes, Hokage. Sama, with a sigh, Shikamaru nodded. Team Kurenai, please find Sai and Tayuya. Tsunade. Obeken will be in charge of the village while I'm at the summit, so please let her know. They acknowledged the orders with a nod. Tell them they're being recalled. With a sigh, dismissed, the Konoha nins exited the room. A moment later, Team Samui trailed behind, but Naruto prevented Yugito from departing as well. With a back to him, she said, please be safe. Yugito smiled and nodded, I will, before disappearing, leaving Naruto by himself in the room. Time was running out quickly, if there was one thing Naruto realized at that moment. For everybody. Soundtrack. Alphabase.02, Auto. Sitting in the complex's main office, Uchiha Sasuke read the report in front of him, silent rage and hatred seeping from him. He assumed the role of Otokage after Naruto killed Orochimaru, intending to use the village's resources for his own gain. But he didn't anticipate seeing the report in front of him at this precise moment. Are you sure? He said in a stern whisper. An anxious Karen nodded as she stood in front of him, saying, yes, Otokage. Sama. Sasuke commanded, leave, and Karen hurried out of the room. Sasuke.kun. Sakura worriedly inquired. Sasuke growled, got up, and threw the entire desk to the side. Itachi is dead. Naruto killed him. Naruto. He has taken away my revenge, he said. As he did so, Sakura stood motionless and said, Sasuke.kun, your eyes. He questioned her sharply, what? Sakura said, your eyes are different. Gazing into the left wall mirror, he said, my eyes. The Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi was my only concern. The closest person to me. His death has triggered this, he said, his fists clenched at his sides. What do we do now, Sasuke.kun? Sakura inquired. I will kill Naruto. For robbing me of my retribution, Sasuke said, turning to face the Pinkette. Come on, we're heading out. For us to succeed, I need to assemble a team, and Karen should be the first. Yes, Sasuke.kun. Sakura nodded, but her tone betrayed some jealousy at the other girl's name. Rain Country. Headquarters of AIM and Akatsuki. So that's what happened, Zetsu, who was white, concluded. Black Zetsu questioned, what will you do now? Madara didn't say anything. White Zetsu said, in 1 week, the Hokage is organizing a 5-cage summit in Iron Country. Hitaki Kakashi is dead. Who is the new Hokage? Pain asked. Namikaze Naruto, White Zetsu replied, surprising everyone in the room. Danzo is the best choice, of course, now that he's dead, Pain understood, nodding. This is regrettable. Madara's voice was harsh and full of rage. I had hoped Itachi would die at Sasuke's hands so we could use him, Madara said. Pain turned away and said, Sasuke is nothing but an ignorant little child who throws his anger at everything he can. All he said was, he is irrelevant, and he and Conan both disappeared into the night. You should respect your superiors. You are a disrespectful little Senju. As his mask began to wriggle and twist around him, Madara thought, even in my weakened form, I can kill you. Just wait until I get the remaining Biju. Then, we'll find out precisely where you are in my new world. In an instant, he was gone. Fire Country, Council Chamber, Hokage Monument. Arranging himself in front of the other two ninja in the room, Naruto took off his Hokage hat and cage robes. Even Sai was finding it difficult not to flinch as Tayuya and Sai stood in front of him. I am about to ascend to the summit. There is a 2-guard limit for each cage, no matter what. Naruto said simply, you two have been chosen because I know you can handle yourselves when shit happens. It shouldn't be too difficult, Tayuya asserted. But still, I doubt Akatsuki will ignore this summit, Sai said. I hope they give it a shot, a smiling Naruto remarked. Just to give us a reason for the 5 villages to bring down their combined strength on them. Tayuya whispered, that seems a little reckless. Naruto countered, but effective, as he got closer to the door. He said, let's go, over his shoulder. Yes, Hokage. Sama. Tayuya and Sai nodded, though it was evident from Tayuya's tone that she was laughing. Iron Region. Woods with his team, following closely behind, Uchiha Sasuke dashed through the snow. Covered trees as fast as he could, jumping from tree to tree. He had called a meeting in this country, and Sakura and he had spent a full 3 hours assembling this team to kill the new Hokage. His scout, Karen, a redhead girl, and the 2 heavy hitters, Jugo and Suigetsu, comprised the team itself. In Wave Country, they had taken a brief detour in search of Momochi Zabuza's ancient sword, known as the Kabikari Hocho, which served as a grave marker. Suigetsu had declared he would only accompany Sasuke if he could obtain the blade. Wave Country was en route to Iron Country, which was the only real reason Sasuke agreed to it. The Uchiha noticed a flash of orange, which then grew into some sort of swirling vortex. With the others following suit behind him, Sasuke came to a stop on one of the branches. What the hell is that? Surprised, Suigetsu inquired. The vortex swirled until it resembled a man donning a big Akatsuki cloak and an orange spiral mask. Is he Akatsuki? One might wonder. Hello, Sasuke, said the unfamiliar person. His chakra. It came out of nowhere. What the hell? Karen stared at the man, wondering. How did you know where I was? Sasuke made a demand. The man wearing a mask said, don't underestimate me, it is well within my power. What do you want with me? Sasuke asked. I have a job for you, said the unfamiliar person. Who are you? Sasuke inquired. The group was surprised when he answered, my name is Uchiha Madara. Your chakra is repulsive, it makes me think of Uchiha Madara. It appears that the Kyuubi also compared me to you, Sasuke remarked, squinting his eyes. He questioned, am I supposed to care? Madara laughed and replied, no, but I know you do care about your revenge. It's such a shame Itachi had to die by Naruto's hands instead of your own. Do not speak to me of Itachi. With a lightning splashed fist, Sasuke leapt towards the stranger and let out a shout. He yelled, Chidori, as he struck, but instead of hitting Madara, he fell through her body as if it were not there. What? He wondered, is that some sort of jutsu? As he balanced himself on a different branch. I told you not to underestimate me. Even Itachi could not defeat when we fought, Madara stated to him. Instead of answering that, Sasuke gave a scowl that said, know your place, child. What do you want exactly? Sasuke made a demand. The Kyuubi is what I want, Madara retorted somberly. You want Naruto? Fine, you can have him as long as I get to crush him completely, replied Sasuke. So we're in agreement, laughed Madara as she nodded. One of the figures called out, Madara, Sama, as it rose from a nearby tree branch. Who's that? Karen inquired. Madara turned to the newcomer and comforted her, saying, calm down. He's with me. He questioned, Zetsu. So who is the new Raikage? Ni Yugito, Zetsu, who was white, replied. Of course, Madara said, laughing at the absurdity of the circumstance. Yugito is the Raikage. Sakura expressed shock. She insisted, what the hell happened in Kumo? One of my goons, Pain, destroyed the village. but Naruto had to call a 5-cage summit after he and Itachi caused such a stir lately. Now that they're all moving, Madara said. What do you want to do, Otokage? Sama? Suigetsu inquired. We go to the top and eliminate the cages, with the exception of that demon woman and the Dobi. Madara, you can have them if I get to crush them, Sasuke shot back. Excellent, Madara remarked with a laugh. He said, Zetsu, and his partner gave a nod. White Zetsu said, I'll lead you, as his two halves parted ways. White Zetsu yelled, follow me, as he leapt into the trees, the auto team right behind. That went well, Black Zetsu said when they were done. No. It's unbelievable that Naruto beat Itachi, but it makes sense that the only person who could match a Uchiha was a Senju in all but name. Sasuke is useless to us even if he were to surpass Itachi in strength if we are unable to control him. Madara said emphatically, I had intended to use Itachi's death at Sasuke's hands to make him more controllable. But obviously Naruto's actions have changed things. I'm surprised you considered the possibility that Naruto killed Itachi, a curious Black Zetsu remarked. Though it wasn't what I had planned, I always have at least one fallback option in case something goes wrong. Madara's voice was a mixture of irritation and disgust. Namikaze Naruto. That brat's thrown quite the wrench into my plans, she said. What steps will you take? Will you take the initiative? Black Zetsu questioned. Madara laughed as she looked up at the sky and said, I think it's time to hurry up and implement the Moon's Eye plan. I've had enough of being cautious. Sasuke and his companions were trailing White Zetsu farther away as he guided them to their objective. Can we trust him? From his end, Jugo inquired. Let's just see what happens, Sasuke said to him. I'll use Amaterasu on him if he makes any amusing attempts. In any case, there's something I've been meaning to try.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.